A direct descendant of Vince Lombardi? Oh, guys, the rabbit trail never ends. The rabbit trail never ends. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. We're gonna have a good show tonight. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna get back to the basics. We're gonna get back to the basics. We've been getting back to the basics. We shall continue to get back to the basics by exploring a little bit of the life and times of Erika Frantzve. I also want to. A lot of you guys don't know I ever podcasted or had any life before the first Charlie Kirk episode because I've kind of marked all that private. Something happened today that made me think about an episode I did right after the election last year. And I've gone and I found it and I pulled it. And as usual, I'm a little long-winded. I am a little rambly. And I don't want to play a long clip of Barron doing Barron. And so but I do want to play a little piece of it after the open. I do want to play a little piece of it after the open. So, someone said, what do I think about the Lombardi relation? I think it's a lie. I think it's a lie. When Lori Frantzve was born, Vince Lombardi was an assistant coach for Army. Well, actually, maybe there's something to it. I don't know. But welcome, members of the jury. Welcome into the show tonight. It should be fun. This should be a fun show. We've got a lot of little clips to play and things, and a whole bunch of, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. A whole lot of contradictions we have to identify. Because here's the major problem I see with Erika Kirk, and I'll get to this. I don't want to get too far sidetracked during the opening. Here's the major problem I see with Erika Kirk. A lot of people say, but why are you doing this show on air? Because Erika Kirk is now the CEO of a company, a charity, not a nonprofit. My wife pointed this out. Mrs. Coleman eloquently pointed this out not too terribly long ago. We've got to stop calling it a nonprofit. That's very sterile. A nonprofit corporation. I don't know what a nonprofit corporation is. I know what a charity is. A charity does things like feed the poor. A charity does things like clothe the naked. A charity does things like look after widows and orphans. It's a charity. It is a charity. 501c3s, nonprofits, they're charities. This is the government saying, if you guys don't take care of this, we're going to have to take care of this. Well, what's the justification for TPUSA existing? We'll get to all that. Because if the justification is we're going to campaign for J.D. Vance and we're going to go get a bunch of Republicans elected, that's not a charity. That's not a charity at all. That shouldn't be nonprofit. That should be taxed. I used to run a company like that. People would hire me. I had 30, 40 different employees. They would hire us. We would go out and we would knock on doors and we would send mail and we would give you advice and we would buy media. That was not a charity. I was trying to get Republicans elected to local office, to statewide office. That's not a charity. I had to pay taxes on all that money. And so we got to stop referring to TPUSA as a nonprofit corporation. It is a charity. It's listed under the charitable tax contribution. So if they're not doing charitable work, if they're not feeding the poor, if they're not becoming a church, and we'll talk about that tonight. Well, there's a lot to talk about. I got to get into this. I want to get into the open. After I get into the open, we're gonna look into the life of the new person running this charity. We've got to we've done back to the basics on all this other stuff. At some point, I got to get back to the basics on the person running a charity worth hundreds of millions of dollars that has told us they're going to be responsible for electing the next president of the United States. If that's the case, I got to know who's heading up this charity. I have to know. It's not oatmeal cream. Didn't we settle on ecru or bone white for this hoodie? Anyway, let me get into the open here. I warn you, this is a little bit like going on a first date with Charlie Kirk tonight. We'll hear Erika tonight talk about when they went on their first date, it was Aristotle and it was Socrates. I'm talking about both of them tonight. We're going to talk about Augustine and Aquinas. We're getting a little philosophical tonight, so put on your cap, put on your gown. We're going to get a little cap and gown tonight, but it's going to be good for you. I promise. I promise. You may not have a PhD, but you'll get a PhD level education here tonight. So here we go. In an oatmeal cream hoodie, here we go. This is your opening statement. Oh, one more thing before I get to the opening statement. I only came to do two things tonight. I came to eat macadamia nuts and be nice to commenters. And I'm all out of macadamia nuts, which means, commenters, I'm going to be on my best behavior. I took a lot of heat last night. I was in a foul mood over the war. And I might have snapped at a few people. Not snapped, but I might have been a little shorter than I normally am with commenters. So, those days are done. Those days are done. You're getting your best behaviored humble host tonight. You're getting your best behaviored humble host. Okay. This is your opening statement. Don your cap and gown, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to need it. If your cap and gown's made out of tinfoil, it will be even better. I'm just kidding. Here we go. Just war theory represents a long-standing ethical framework for evaluating the morality of warfare. Just war theory is rooted in ancient philosophical and religious traditions. Just war theory seeks to balance the harsh realities of conflict with the human principles of justice and restraint. At its core, just war theory posits that war is sometimes necessary, but it must adhere to strict moral guidelines to avoid descending into unchecked violence. The concepts of just war theory are articulated in the modern philosophical framework and trace their roots back to ancient civilizations. In other words, the concepts predate what we now consider Western civilization. Ancient Egypt, for example. Even ancient Egypt had a clear framework for moral considerations in warfare, such as the principle of limiting devastation when possible. These concepts were present as early as the Old Kingdom period in ancient Egypt. In India, the Hindu epic Mahabharata outlines protocols for humane conduct that include restrictions on weapons and how you should treat wounded enemies. The ancient Chinese philosopher Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War that war is a last resort and is tied only to political necessity. The Japanese had samurai codes that invoked honor and restraint. At the advent of what we now would consider Western civilization, Greek philosophers like Plato and Aristotle laid the early groundwork for just war theory. In his famous book, The Republic, Plato linked warfare to justice. Plato argued that military ethics were essential for an ideal state and that there must be limitations on brutality to preserve virtues like justice. Aristotle viewed war as a means to restore peace, arguing that war is permissible only when you allow for reconciliation. The famous Roman statesman Cicero further developed these ideas during the first century of the first millennium, during the Pax Romana period. Cicero introduced legal criteria requiring an enemy's prior guilt in order to justify war. Cicero prioritized peace and viewed conflict as a last resort and solely for justice, never gain. Just war theory's most systematic development emerged in Christian theology. St. Augustine of Hippo. For you Protestants, that's St. Augustine, same guy. St. Augustine of Hippo in the 4th and 5th centuries AD integrated biblical ethics with the classical ideas of just war theory. St. Augustine wrote vehemently against the love of violence and justified war only to right evils, such as defending the innocent. Influenced by his mentor, St. Ambrose, Augustine emphasized the punitive aspects, framing war as a response to injustice while stressing the need to maintain love for your enemies. In the 13th century, St. Thomas Aquinas further refined just war theory in a book, Summa Theologica. He outlined core principles: a just cause, which he defined primarily as self-defense, proper authority, and right intention. Aquinas' work universalized just war theory beyond Christendom with his work influencing later thinkers who applied it to colonial encounters as well as international law. During the post-Enlightenment period of the 19th and 20th centuries, just war theory evolved into a mostly secular framework as governments and organizations incorporated it into modern international humanitarian laws like the Geneva Conventions and the United Nations. Modern just war theory divides into three categories. One, the right to go to war. Do you have a right to go to war, a moral right to go to war? Two, the conduct during war. How do you act when you're at war? And three, the conduct and justice after war. These three categories aim to present a framework where wars are not only justified, but also humane and restorative. The right to go to war assesses whether initiating war is moral. There typically are 6 factors used to determine whether there is a right to go to war in the first place. These include just cause, and as we talked about, self-defense, protecting innocent life, restoring rights that have been wrongfully denied. Those would all be just cause. Do you have a legitimate authority? Meaning, do you have a decision by a proper governmental entity? Do you have right intention? Are you aiming for peace rather than conquest or revenge? Is war the last resort? Meaning, have you exhausted all nonviolent options, including negotiation and diplomacy? Then there's proportionality. Do the anticipated benefits outweigh the inevitable harms? And finally, do you have a reasonable chance of success? Are you going to avoid futile bloodshed? These represent a blend of moral absolutes and practical outcomes. That's the first component. The second component, the conduct during war. This is what governs wartime behavior. It emphasizes discrimination, meaning you distinguish enemy combatants from innocent civilians. You only target the innocent enemy combatants, and you do everything you can to not harm innocent civilians. It emphasizes proportionality. This ensures the harm doesn't exceed the military necessity. This component prohibits atrocities like targeting non-combatants, targeting journalists, targeting infrastructure used by civilians, or using excessive force, even when a right to war, a good right to war, has been determined to exist. And finally, the principles of necessity and humanity limit your actions only to what is required to accomplish the just objective. In other words, you don't just mow down everything in sight just because you're already there. And finally, the third piece. So that's the second piece. The third piece is the conduct after war. This is a modern addition to the just war theory, but I think it's a good one. It addresses post-war justice. Sometimes that includes things like reconstruction or putting measures in place to ensure some sort of sustainable peace so you're not right back at war. It requires the victors to restore the rights of the people they've conquered, to prosecute war crimes of their own people, and to avoid punitive measures that would breed resentment in the conquered territory, the people who remain. All of this ensures that the conflicts lead to some sort of lasting stability, and it links right back to going to war in the first place. In short, the analysis of the commonly accepted modern just war theory is really not that complicated. While it's certainly early, and many facts are still heavily disputed, it's worth taking a few moments to apply this modern just war theory framework to the war against Iran that just broke out over the weekend. Doing so appears, at least on its face, to show that the Israeli-led and U.S.-backed war against Iran fails the just war theory of conflict. In short, the early analysis based on a set of commonly understood facts available to the average citizen seems to suggest the war that began a few days ago would be classified as an unjust war. It fails, among other things, on the principle that there might be a right to go to war in the first place. This would be due to, among other things, the lack of a just cause like self-defense, and the fact that peace negotiations were still ongoing, meaning war was necessarily not a last resort. The war resembles, instead, at best, and this is giving the best light to the people prosecuting the war, At best, the war resembles aggressive prevention. That's being awfully favorable to the aggressors. And whatever that is, it's not self-defense. A common refrain that's bubbled up the last few days, I've been hearing this from supporters of the war, or even people who just tolerate the war and believe it probably isn't ideal, but they're not necessarily against it, is that the war was necessary to counter the growing threat of China. Specifically, I've heard people say this, not just a few people. They say our government's articulated justification of preventing a nuclear Iran, that's just a cover story. The real reason, the story goes, is that Iran was selling discounted oil to China, or themselves securing precious minerals from China. I have a very clear response to that. That's a disgusting position. Wanting China to pay higher prices for oil, or wanting China to share their mineral wealth with a wider audience of purchasers, is not an acceptable cost for killing people, certainly not killing hundreds or thousands of people and destroying the critical infrastructure relied on by civilians. It's just not. And there's no amount of repeating it or telling me all of the wonderful commercial benefits that will benefit Americans. None of that's going to change my mind. We must negotiate commercial deals some other way. We cannot decide to drop bombs on people in order to further our commercial goals. If that is not the goal of either the U.S. or the Israeli governments, that's fine. But it's being stated nearly universally by people trying to justify this war in Iran. And it's all coming just 6 months after we supposedly destroyed their nuclear program and set them back years in their desire to develop a nuclear program. I like just war theory. I like it primarily because I despise war. But just war theory, strictly applied, provides for only a small set of circumstances where war becomes an acceptable outcome. If I personally could add just one small thing to just war theory, it would be this. When a government decides war is the only acceptable possibility and that all other elements of just war theory are satisfied, I would add that the government initiating that war must give a clear and unambiguous statement of the framework used to determine the war is in fact a just war. Included in that statement must be a clear articulation of the cause of the war. We have not been given that to date. So in short, the basis of just war theory is a presumption against war. And that presumption is only overridden by grave injustices. It's precise, it's practical, it's popular. I know it's popular because nearly every presidential candidate in my lifetime has campaigned for the office on the principles of just war theory, even if they didn't use the phrase. They all campaigned, every single one of them campaigned on avoiding unnecessary foreign wars and nation building. Unfortunately, I'm still waiting for a president that will govern by those same principles once he takes office. And that is your opening statement. So yes, we had to get a little cap and gown. Yes, I had to do a little bit of an explanation for why I feel that way. Why I feel that way. I do want to play a couple of small clips here while we're getting up and running, because I think Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, now I would make a fine Secretary of State. If Candace ever wins presidency, Tucker Carlson ever wins presidency, I would like to throw my hat in the ring to be the greatest Secretary of State, the humblest and greatest Secretary of State there ever was. I would be remarkable. But instead, we have Marco Rubio. So I'm going to let former Senator and current Secretary of State Marco Rubio have the floor for just a moment and articulate why he says we're going to war. And I want to tear apart just a little bit of what he says, because I think it's nonsensical. And then I'll get into the meat of the show tonight.
The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true, because in fact, the within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. I'll be honest. Your humble host as Secretary of State would never say something as absurd in his entire life. The justification, the imminent threat of harm, the imminent and certain threat that America would be struck, was that he knew there was a plan to strike them and they would take defensive measures. Why not tell them not to strike Iran? Then they don't take the defensive measures of striking American forces in the area. That's the threat. The threat wasn't Iran. The but-for cause of Americans getting killed, the but-for cause of American bases in the area being attacked, the but-for cause, meaning but for Israel attacking Iran, Iran would not attack America. Then tell them not to attack. Say, hey, you're being reckless. And if you do this, you're going to put American lives at risk. Please don't do this. And then use the full weight of the American economy, the American military, the American diplomatic force. Use the full weight to convince this country not to start a war that's going to result in your country being attacked. You can't bootstrap, in other words. You cannot bootstrap the fear of imminent harm. I will remind you, there is no alliance pact. There's no alliance law between Israel and the United States. We don't have one. We have one with the NATO countries. We have one with people like Canada. Meaning if Canada's attacked, we are obligated to engage. We have one with all those people. We don't have one with Israel. And so if they are going to do something that would cause you to be attacked, we're under an obligation to prevent them from doing it. That's why he's the worst Secretary of State I can imagine for this moment. His logic, his rationale for why we had to attack was that Israel was going to do something that was going to cause us to be attacked. Therefore, we had to attack first. No. Attack the aggressor. Attack the person who's going to cause you to be attacked. So that's it. There's been a lot of question. There's been a ton of question about why Donald Trump is doing this. He campaigned on no new wars. He campaigned on this idea that he wasn't going to do this. I'm going to take you back in time to November 10th of 2024. This was just a couple of days after the election of 2024. Just a few days. And yes, it's me, but I haven't heard anybody else articulate it this way. Certainly not at that time. And so I am going to play a little clip of it. It's going to be me watching me, and it's going to be weird. Well, you'll notice a few things. One, you'll notice the lighting and camera are a lot better these days. You'll notice the sound quality, I believe, is a lot better. You'll notice my hoodie game was very weak at the time. But you'll also notice, and you'll notice the name of the podcast is different because in the top right corner, you'll see the logo, and it's a different logo. But if you listen to the content, what you'll notice is I'm coming off of a question that I was asking kind of myself and the audience. Where are the liberals? Why are the elites not protesting Trump? You remember in the lead up to the 2024 election, we were told he was Hitler. He was going to do these horrible things. He was going to put people's lives at jeopardy. He was going to take people's rights away. It was very scary. Kamala Harris was basically calling him the next coming of Adolf Hitler. But then the election comes and goes. She loses. And all the people who'd been trotting out on all the Sunday shows, all the cable news shows, nobody said anything. Nobody countered it. So I want to play this little clip because I speculated why that might be the case. And I think I'm right. So let me play this here real quick. I had to set the clip up before I could play it, Mr. Commenter. I saw you down there. I had to set the clip up because I don't want to play any more than I have to. That's old me with terrible lighting and terrible camera. This is over a year ago. Paul's got a guy in the side with it. I haven't seen that. So what are the elites up to? What do they know that we don't? Because the rank and file Democrats, the rank and file leftists are out there preparing for protest, and they're preparing for 2016.2, and they're preparing for Donald Trump 2.0, the resistance. Remember the resistance? She persisted. No, she didn't. She lost. She got her butt handed to her in 2024. She didn't persist. She got waxed. There was this whole idea that you somehow proved your mettle as a human being and you proved yourself as an American and a woman by resisting Donald J. Trump because he's a bad guy. The rank and file are gearing back up for this. The elite are not. Only two reasons that could be happening. Both are equally terrifying. You probably have thought of one. You've not thought of the other. Option one, the one you've probably thought of. There may be an idea from the elite that Donald Trump might expire. And they're banking on it. Whether or not they orchestrate it or know about it. But there may be a little bit of, hey, hang on here. Let's not alienate it. We've already lost. We got J.D. Vance in the wings. He's going to come along. Let's not get carried away. Just sit tight. Just sit tight. Like, you know, imagine you have a friend group, right? And one of your friends is causing a bunch of problems. And you know he's about to get kicked out of the friend group. And you go to your buddy and you say, hey. Don't say anything to him. We're about to get rid of this guy. Or you're on a team and you got a ball hog, right? You're playing basketball and you got a ball hog. But you know the coach is about to cut him. Now you don't want to go up there and show your butt. You don't want to go up there and show up the coach. Hey, you got to get no. Sit tight. He's not going to be here much longer. That's the one you've probably thought of. That the elite, those in power in the Senate and the House, they probably know something. And that's why they're not really freaking out. Just take it easy. Life will get better shortly. Sit tight. But there's a second option, and it's equally as terrifying. The second option is they might have already converted him. Hey, Donnie, baby, you know how we were prosecuting you? You know how we were calling you all these names? You were going to go down as one of the worst presidents in the history of mankind. Let's say we let you win. We could manufacture another 10 or 15 million votes like we did last time, and we could beat you. But we'll let you in. You got to play on our team. Not on everything. You can do it with a straight face. You can have a few issues for yourself. You and your supporters can go crazy on a couple of things that really don't matter. But when it comes to war in the Middle East, you're on our team. When it comes to war in the Middle East, you're on our team. And that's it. That's it. That is what happened. That's what happened. I'm telling you, I called it 2 days after the election. When it comes to war in the Middle East, you're on our team. We all got duped. We all got duped. They in the first term, he wouldn't launch their wars, and they destroyed him. The second term, I think they got to him. I think they said, we're going to let you cut land deals. We're going to let you get rich. We're going to let your children absolutely go ham all over the globe with land deals and building deals. We're not going to prosecute you. You can have fraudulent Bitcoin deals. You can have Trump coin and pull the rug. We're not going to care. We don't care about whatever you do. You can just go ham. But when duty calls in the Middle East, we're going to need you to be on our team. Or we'll fight you for the next 4 years like we did, or we'll take you out like we threatened in Butler. That's it. That's it. I called it on day 2. I think the election was on November 8th. That show was on November 10th. I think I nailed it. Or whatever the election was. That show was on November 10th of 2024. So yes, that's old Barron, bad lighting, but good analysis. If I may humbly state it. We all got had. Everyone who lined up to pull the lever for the guy got had. We all got had. All right, I want to transition out of Iran, out of the Middle East, out of Donald Trump, out of Marco Rubio. I'm available to be Secretary of the State, Don T. If you're hiring, I'm available. It'll be a much better Secretary of State than you have now. I've never been to a bubble party. Having never been to a bubble party, I can't be compromised like Marco Rubio can. But I digress. I don't want to get too carried away. What I want to do tonight is what I call my ELF timeline. ELF, Erika Frantzve, my ELF timeline. We've got it pulled up. I want to kind of go through it blow by blow because, again, you see the consequences. You are looking at the consequences of what happens when you allow people to control elections that you don't know who they are and you can't trust them. And right now, we don't know who Erika Frantzve Kirk is, and we can't trust her. What's a bubble party? Look up Marco Rubio at the bubble party. You'll figure it out. It's not a place a lot of straight people hang out, which may be why you don't know about it. All right. So we don't know when she was born. I normally start with birth dates. Is it November 20th? Is it November 22nd? I'm going to speculate a little bit. I'm going to suggest she actually escaped a birth canal on November 20th. The names Kent and Lori Frantzve are on her birth certificate. There is a birth announcement at Good Samaritan Hospital. But her registration date, when they registered the birth, was like over 2 weeks later, December 5th. And the birth announcement in the local newspaper was December 6th. I'll submit to you that after reviewing birth records in Ohio, that's a little delayed. There's a little something there that didn't happen on time. And I don't know what it was. But I'm going to speculate based on this fact. Lori Frantzve had a pretty spectacular career going for herself. She had a nice house in coastal Massachusetts in a very nice part of town. She was working for GE, General Electric. She was rocking and rolling. Everything was going great in her career. She'd lived in Minnesota for GE. She had lived in Massachusetts for GE. And then for some reason, in August of 1988, she decides to relocate to Cincinnati. Now, she'd lived in Cincinnati before. She'd been married to somebody who lived in Cincinnati. I think she'd gone to school maybe in the Cincinnati area. But other than that, she had no real familial ties to Cincinnati. She was from Washington, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Pittsburgh. So my speculation is, and I am going to speculate, and I'm telling you right now, it's just speculation, but this is my speculation. My speculation is her sister Tanya, her adopted half-sister Tanya, I believe the Tanya is her mother's offspring with 2 husbands ago. Tanya was living in Cincinnati at the time. And if I'm Lori, and I don't know that this is the fact, but if I'm Lori, and I'm living in Boston, and I'm going to take custody of my grandchild and raise her as my own, I'll probably want to live near the mother, my daughter. And I just speculate that there's something to this. There are just too many weird things around the birth of Erika Kirk. Because Erika will tell you, her Wikipedia page will tell you, her social media will tell you, they'll celebrate her birthday on November 20th every year. But on every legal document that you can come across relative to Kent and Lori Frantzve, they always say it's November 22nd, as if they don't know, or as if something legal took place on November 22nd, 2 days after she was born. I haven't gone back and looked at what day of the week November 20th, 1988 was. Was that a weekend? It was a Sunday. It was a Sunday. And so the courthouses aren't open on November. So maybe there are things that had to take place at the courthouse after her birth, and that took place a couple of days later. I don't know. But for whatever reason, there's this tremendous confusion. But that's how Erika is born into the world. Her mother, if the Lori Frantzve was pregnant and actually gave physical birth to Erika, the story is that at 7 months pregnant, she relocates and changes jobs, which is a kind of uprooting your family at that point. If the speculation that I kind of am potentially saying is that Erika might have been born to someone else, perhaps even her older sister, and that Lori and Kent adopted her, then Lori wouldn't have been 7 months pregnant, but she would have been moving to relocate to her 7-month pregnant daughter, that area there. So that just leads me to speculate. For instance, I have 8 children. You throw a kid at me, I'm going to throw the birth date right back at you. Those are just dates you remember. I know the month and day and the year. I know what day I was married. But we digress. The first time Erika Kirk, the earliest mention we have of Erika Kirk relative to her early schooling, I would let Candace describe to you. This is like the 1996 to 98 range. So this is when she's 8 to 10 years old. And I'll let the queen of podcasting take it from here and give you a brief explanation.
I was working really hard while I was off. And I can show you that Erika was at school. I don't have every year yet, but I do have some years, 1995 to 1996 in first grade, 1996 to 1997 in second grade, and 1997 to 1998, which is her in third grade. I got to tell you, I am so glad that I found this Tesseract.
So that's Candace explaining the early schooling. So that's the first kind of on the record understanding of what we have, where Erika might have gone to school, what she was doing, and all that kind of stuff. The next time she pops up is another 5 years later. We have a image here of Erika Kirk as a volleyball player. We've all heard she plays basketball. We've heard there may be exaggerations about her basketball career, but we've heard she plays basketball. But here we have down at the bottom right, this is all region girls volleyball class 5A. And Notre Dame prep right here, Erika Frantzve listed next to Tara Smith and Lauren Smith. So now we know that this year anyway, she's enrolled at Notre Dame. She's playing volleyball. So what does she show up next? The next thing we know is she enters the pageant world. This would be 2004, 2005. And she is first runner-up in the Miss Arizona National American Miss pageant program. This would be, I believe, her sophomore or junior year, maybe her junior year. So 2004, 2005, she is sophomore year, excuse me. She's at Notre Dame prep, and she's doing her pageant stuff. And she is the first runner-up, second place at the Miss Arizona National American Miss Arizona pageant. Why is that relevant? Why do we bring that up? Because again, later, you guys recall she was on a podcast and she was like, I don't know why I did Miss Arizona. I just got this thing in the mail, just decided, hey, we'll try it. No, you tried for years to make it in the pageant world. Again, documented liar, Erika Frantzve at the time, but documented liar, Erika Frantzve. The next mention we have is from her junior year. Here's a newspaper clipping of Erika Kirk, her junior year. This is at Notre Dame. Junior Erika Frantzve won the title of first runner-up in the National American Miss Arizona pageant held in July. She will represent Scottsdale in the All-American Miss pageant in November in Los Angeles. I don't know why she would be at the national if you're the first runner-up. Maybe you don't have to win. Maybe this is like a trophy thing where you get a trophy just for competing. I don't know. But she goes to Los Angeles as the second place winner her second year. So sophomore year, she's finished second in the National American Miss Junior Teen Arizona pageant, whatever it is. And the next year in a row, she also finishes second yet again. Well, then her big breakthrough comes through. She finally accomplishes it. Now that the third year we know of that she competed in pageants, she's a senior to be at Notre Dame Prep. She was crowned state champion at the National American Miss State Pageant. This is interesting down here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to zoom in on it. You can't really see it. Don't email that email address, by the way. It's a good way to get blocked. There we go. She will take part in the national pageant scheduled to take place Thanksgiving week in Anaheim. She'll also have a chance to travel to Washington, D.C. to present her plans to Representative J.D. Hayworth and Senator John Kyle. Those are not the last times you'll hear those names. We'll bring those back up again tonight. I don't know why she's traveling in Washington, D.C. I'm not making any big deal out of it. I don't think she was working for the CIA at this point in her life. She's a rising senior in high school, but nevertheless, there were a couple of names where she is going to be meeting with these people. Because the following year, her mom has a bill in front of the State House. This is the write-up of the bill in front of the State House. The Electromagnetic Pulse Preparedness Bill, Senate Bill 1476. Senator David Farnsworth was the sponsor of that bill. Senator David Farnsworth said he became concerned. Oh, goodness gracious. I got to figure this computer out. Said he became concerned about a potential for EMP event a short time ago and has gotten support from Congressman Terry Franks, who has a bill in Congress, as well as former Senator John Kyle. He introduced Larry Ginta, Chuck Lee, and Lori Frantzve, the CEO of G-Tech Industries. Larry Ginta, this is 1996, we know would go on 5 years later to be married to Lori Frantzve. It's important to note this is a time when Lori Frantzve is still married to Kent Frantzve. But she is has this bill sponsored in order to financially benefit her with her future husband-to-be, Larry Ginta. Now, I'm going to show you evidence that Erika Kirk very early on knew how to play the game. She very early on knew how to play the game. Because here is Erika Kirk tweeting support for the sponsor of the bill. This is David Farnsworth. He's retweeting Erika Frantzve. So proud of Dave Farnsworth. He is the type of politician that makes me proud to be an American. That's a weird thing for a high schooler to, well, I guess she was out of college by this point, but she understands how to play the game. Her mom has a bill in front of the Arizona House and the Arizona Senate. She's trying to get it passed. It's going to be a financial windfall to the family. And there's Erika, former Miss Arizona USA, out there tweeting her support for the sponsor. I'm so proud of this guy. Now, I don't think it's lost on you. It certainly wasn't lost on me. This last name, Farnsworth. Farnsworth becomes an important part of the narrative about whether or not Charlie Kirk got a raw deal on his way out. But that's down the road. That's down the road. Let's go back to high school. This is October of 2006. This is her senior year, the fall of her senior year at Notre Dame Prep. The fall of her senior year at Notre Dame Prep. There's a new piece of information here I did not know. This is Notre Dame down here at the bottom. I don't know if you can read this. I'll try to make it as big as I possibly can for you. Senior Erika Frantzve, National American Miss Teen Arizona. I mean, let me just pause. This is the most absurdly named group I've ever heard. I was only familiar with Miss America prior to the Erika Kirk story. I didn't know there was a Miss America USA. I didn't know there was a Miss Teen Arizona USA. I just thought there was there she is, Miss America. That's the only one I knew of. But apparently there are others, and it makes it hard to say. The National American Miss Teen Arizona. Look at this down here in the bottom right. She will travel to Washington, D.C. this fall to present her new nonprofit organization, Kids, No I in Team. KNIT helps children understand the value of athletics. I was aware of some of her other charities. I was not aware she had a charity called KNIT, KNIT, No I in Team. Totally unaware of it. I'm sure it was a charity on the up and up. I can find no filings about it. I can find no legal paperwork saying that it ever existed. But I'm not saying she didn't exist, and I'm not saying the charity didn't exist. I'm just highly questioning it. That same fall? Oh, use the zoom button in the top left corner. See, I'm getting pointers as I fly here. That same fall, she's mentioned in the same newspaper as playing basketball for Notre Dame Prep. We have that here. Just a quick little flash of Erika Kirk playing basketball. Notre Dame Preparatory's second-year coach, Art Prius, welcomes back only 3 players from last season's club that went 6-17. Well, the bad news is we only went 6-17 last year. The good news is almost everybody's gone from that team. Erika Frantzve was one of the people coming back. So we have, again, evidence at least now that what she says about playing basketball is true. Now we graduate from high school. Erika's gone. She goes to Colorado. She has been telling the world that she played basketball at Regis University in Denver, Colorado from fall of 2007 through the spring of 2009. We have a mention of that we can begin to piece together the life and times of Erika Frantzve. Here's a piece right here. She is featured in an ad. Notre Dame Preparatory High School graduate Erika Frantzve is featured in an ad promoting Thursday night football coverage on Cox Communication, Cable Channel 7. She is the Miss Teen Arizona, is attending Regis University in Denver on a full basketball and academic scholarship. So she lives. We have evidence. We have something backing up that what she says is true. You'll remember that this same month that she's away from home, she's living in Denver. It's basketball season. You guys know this. Basketball season runs from roughly early November to roughly March every year for most schools. And you know, when you're playing basketball in college, you practice all the time, you're studying, you've got all this stuff going on. You really have to buckle down when you're playing basketball in college. This isn't the YMCA league. You're not 9 years old anymore. They keep score. They count your statistics. They're paying you a lot of money. They're selling tickets. I mean, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. But not too big for our Erika to get involved in some other ideas, other items. This is the time while she's away from home, while she's living in Denver, Colorado full-time, while she's attending school full-time, while she's playing basketball upwards of probably 20, 25 hours a week or more, while she's traveling to games for season, while people are traveling in, while students and fans are showing up for the games, Erika and her mother thought this is a good time to go into the charity business. You'll notice the date here that this was accepted by the Arizona Corporation Commission, December 7th, 2007. This is the fall semester of her freshman year in college while she's out there playing ball. This corporation, Everyday Heroes Like You, Inc., we're very familiar with it, but Everyday Heroes Like You, Inc., it's to provide toys, books, games, entertainment items to unfortunate children during their confinement in medical facilities. In other words, if your kid's in the hospital, they might get a book, a coloring book or something. That's a fine charity. Nothing wrong with it. It's just strangely timed, I would say. Very strangely timed. And you can see here it was executed this 10th day of November. So this is right in the thick of her thing. Now, if you roll back up, there are only 2 board members on this team, on this thing. It's just her mom and her. That's it. And we've done this on previous episodes. We've looked at all the 990s that were filed. Those are the tax forms required to be filed by charities. There are organizations that track this. You can look at it on the IRS charity tracker. We've done it on all of them. They've never had to file because this charity that they've opened since 2007, that's still open today, for whatever reason, 17 years later, this charity still exists. It's never drawn in more than $50,000. And that's kind of the triggering point. So it seems kind of like a fraud. It seems like a scam to me. If I opened up a charity and operated it for 17 years and never one time took in more than $50,000, what am I really doing in the world? Why do I have this charity? Is it just so when people write about me, they can act like I do something with my life and say, well, he does run a charity? You know, Baron Coleman, in addition to being a basketball star, in addition to going to college, he's running a charity, guys. He's got a charity. It's called Everyday Heroes Like You. It's a big charity. No, it's not. It's a paper tiger, or it's a fraud, one or the other. But that's what they decided to do her freshman year. And if you go and you look at the statistics for Regis University, and we'll do that, you'll see that what she says is just not true. Erika played in 8 games this season. I think it was 8 out of like 26 games. She made 2 field goals, meaning she made 2 baskets the whole year. She went 3 for 6 from the free throw line. And her big highlight was she scored 4 points and was 2 for 2 from the free throw line against this other team on January 18th. And then it's got the rest of her bio here from high school. She actually was, I think, a pretty legitimate high school athlete. But in college, everything kind of the wheels came off. And there's just no second year. We've been told this whole time she played basketball 2 years at Regis. And there's just, I'm telling you guys, there's no evidence of it. It doesn't exist. In fact, you can go to the actual stat page for Regis, not just her bio on the website, but the actual stat page. And you can look, it's got all these statistics for all these players that have ever played basketball at Regis. And you'll see here, there's only 1 year listed for Erika Frantzve. It's this year right here. She played in 8 games. She averaged 4.4 minutes in each of those 8 games. She went 2 for 7 from the field. She went 1 for 5 from 3-point land. She did get 1 rebound that season. She committed 4 fouls in 35 minutes. 3 assists, a turnover. I mean, it's obvious they kept up with their players. It's all right here. There's no second season. And today on Candace's show, if you were watching, she actually said she confirmed with some of the players who were on that team, Erika didn't play the second year. Erika didn't play the second year. We'll come back to that in just a second. What might she have been doing? We'll come back to that. Here is evidence from Miss Colorado USA 2009. So this would have been at the end of the 2008 year. Miss Colorado 2009, Erika Kirk shows up. Here she is. She is the 3rd runner-up, meaning she finished in 4th place. The winner was this Patrice Williams. And then you have 2 other people, 1st runner-up, 2nd runner-up. Then you have 3rd runner-up, Erika Frantzve, right there. And so that is evidence she was there. Now, I will say this. We have, I think, thousands of her old tweets. But I just want to show you evidence she was alive during the year of 2009. She might not have been playing basketball, but she was alive. I have evidence right here she was alive. I'll just show you briefly. Here's where Erika could not make Lindsay's 21st birthday party because she's still going to be in Colorado. So she was alive, but she was in Colorado, but she wasn't playing basketball. So we don't quite know what's happening. Because this is the disputed year where she had told everybody she played basketball at Regis University for 2 years. We've now confirmed, no, she only played for 1 year. We have no idea why she's been running around for a decade or more of public life telling people she played for 2 years, because she didn't. She played for 1. Teammates say she wasn't on the team. The statistics don't show she was on the team. But there is evidence she was still in Colorado. So what is she doing in Colorado? Who's she with? What's happening up there? Well, one thing we know, and again, I'm going to go back to Candace on the Bride of Charlie. Oh, whoops, I hit the wrong button. Go back to Candace here on the Bride of Charlie. Let me hit pause. There we go. And let her explain what Erika says she was doing during this weird year where she apparently was still in Colorado, but was not playing basketball.
After she passes her crown, so in 2007, she's wearing the crown, and then she passes her crown, she is going to confirm that she does indeed go missing after that period. So this would be, of course, in 2008. Take a listen to what Erika.
Now, I want to pause and say, I don't know that's true, unless it was the fall of 2008 into early 2009. Because we have her on the basketball team through the spring semester of 2008. So if this is 2008, if Candace is right and this is 2008, then it's the summer of 2008 into the fall of 2008 and potentially rolling into 2009. Because we know she was in Colorado during that time, but we know also she wasn't playing basketball. So this would make sense. But here's Erika explaining what was going on during that time.
Erika says herself.
I prayed for God to just strip my ego from all of that stuff, all of that world, all of the plastic hat crown stuff with the banner. That was just, it was me from the standpoint of a philanthropic side, but the hometown hero thing was just weird and it was unhealthy and it was just ego fueling. So I locked myself in my room, basically turned into a hermit for about a good 8 months. The only person I would see outside of my family was my pastor's wife, and we would go to the church and she would just pour into me every single day. And I just was reading scripture and read the Bible cover to cover multiple times.
Read the Bible cover to cover multiple times. We'll come back to that in just a second. This is 2008, maybe rolling into 2009 because she says it's an 8-month period. 2008 into 2009, I read the Bible multiple times, cover to cover. That's her story. She's sticking to it. We'll let her stick to it. I'm going to hold people to what they tell us. Because I want to show you, go back in time, just to, dadgummit, hit the button again. I want to go back. I know what's happening. It's changing sizes on me because I've got it small so you guys can see better. Now let's play it. Here we go. Let me pull it up for you. Because she said at that time in 2008 or 2009, late 2008, early 2009, somewhere in that time period, certainly well before 2016, she has read the Bible cover to cover multiple times with the assistance of her pastor's wife, the only person to see her during this period of time. Here's how she explains it a few years later.
So the first time I ever read the Bible cover to cover was 2016.
You just told us you'd read the Bible cover to cover multiple times in an 8-month period. I'm very confused by this woman. She has a deeply dishonest affect. It's deeply, deeply dishonest. And when you're lying about playing basketball, whatever, right? You shouldn't do it. It reflects poorly on your character. People pick up on it. It's weird. If you lie about what you had for dinner last night, you know, you had ribs, but you don't want people to know you're a pig. So you tell them you had a nice little baked chicken breast or something, right? Okay, fine. You don't want people to see you like sauce all over your face, sucking on your fingers, meat hanging down your cheek. You don't want people to see you that way. So you tell them, I had a nice chicken breast, or I ate a vegetarian meal. I had some noodles, very small noodles, so I didn't slurp them all over my face. I didn't have spots on my shirt, certainly. Not ideal. Not ideal. You shouldn't lie about that. You should just be an honest person. But if you're going to lie about reading the Bible, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. Like, of all the things to lie about, you're going to tell people the first time you read the Bible cover to cover was in 2016, after you just told people a few years before that you read the Bible cover to cover several times during 2008. So we already have her on the record lying about her faith. That's going to play into the story in just a second about when Erika met Charlie. It's weird. It's weird. The other thing is, when I played that clip, or when Candace played that clip, and we played the clip of Candace watching Erika, you watched me watch Candace watch a clip of Erika. Modern podcasting. They didn't do it that way on Primetime Live. But I digress. You heard her in that clip say, oh, it was just ego fueling, the sash, the little plastic crown. She's belittling it. She's belittling it. And then what did she do like 2 months later? She went back into the exact pageant life that she was just downplaying and criticizing. Here she is that next year. This is Miss Colorado USA 2010, meaning this very year, 2009, when she's saying she had given it up. It wasn't for her. She didn't like it. It just fueled her ego. She was still competing. She was still competing. It's just a deeply dishonest individual. It's a deeply dishonest individual. It just is unnecessary. Now, something weird in all this, because we know she leaves Regis University. She leaves Regis University and she takes off for California. This is a part of her story that gets lost. It's not often mentioned. She'll talk about playing basketball at Regis for 2 years. That's a lie. She played for 1. She'll talk about graduating from Arizona State. She did. Allegedly, I can't find, someone told me they were going to send me the commencement program. They never did, but whatever. I wish if somebody has the commencement program from the spring ceremony of 2012, I would love to see it. But that's neither here nor there. I'll just take it at face value. She graduated from Arizona State. But there's this little in-between period where she's away from Regis and she's not yet at Arizona State, and it just gets lost in her bio. There are some places that have picked up that she went somewhere else. And she tells people she went to Loyola Marymount, which she may have. But I was just doing some general background searches, right? Just some general background searches. And I looked the unclaimed property in the state of California because she said she'd lived there. And in fact, there is unclaimed property in Arizona. Erika, if you're watching, you should collect this. It's $715.12. That's a lot of money. I mean, the average person makes that like in a week. It's just sitting there. You can go get it anytime you want. But this is unclaimed property from the state of California, and it says Pepperdine University. And it's a credit balance from the accounts receivable, meaning they collected the money from her. She paid them the money, and then now they owe it back to her. And I am having trouble making heads or tails of that. I don't know what was happening during this period of time. Not a big deal. she doesn't owe me an explanation for whether she enrolled at Pepperdine and then later changed her mind and enrolled at Loyola Marymount. But it's just weird. There's this mystique, this aura of her. And because there are so many deeply dishonest conflicts, there's so many lies, so many things that just don't add up. For somebody to be running a charity, what has become like a church-based charity. Now, I want to show you something weird, because this is 2011. And there's this, she ran the KNIT charity, KNIT, kids, no I in team. And she ran, this charity that's been open, Everyday Heroes Like You, that was going to collect toys and give them to kids in hospitals. Would you believe me if I told you she actually did other charitable events? It's weird, but one of them she did was Pause for a Cause. This was Sunday, August 21, 2011. Pause for a Cause at there in Scottsdale. She likes charity. What can I say? I mean, there's worse things to do than like charity, right? There are worse things to be accused of than I like charities. But it's just weird she doesn't mention this stuff. Whatever. This is also a little weird too, because in October of 2010, she actually opens another LLC. I know Candace rightfully made a big deal about the fact that that Lori Frantzve opens a ton of businesses. Like, that's her thing. She loves opening businesses. Well, apparently it's genetic, because here is a business that Erika opened, Table 4 LLC. This is that Gelding Drive suite. We had an episode called The Sweet Life where we talked about the Gelding Drive suite down there, but she opens this business, Table 4 LLC. The only business I can find that this business ever did was, I'm pretty sure this business was the producer of the music video she was in. Remember how Erika Kirk was in a music video and that's like her acting credit, her only acting credit that I can find? It turns out like she hired herself. Like, that company that she just hired, that table, that's that company. Which again, if you were going to manufacture this idea that, I'm philanthropical, I have all these charities, well, go do Pause for a Cause, go open your charity, Everyday Heroes Like You. You don't have to do anything. Just tell people you run charities. Go open a company and cut a music video and tell people you're an actress. Why not? Then she goes and she wins. I don't know if you've ever seen this video. I saw it today for the first time. She goes and she wins Miss Arizona USA. Not Miss Arizona, Miss Arizona USA. Again, I didn't know there was a distinction before this week, but here it is. This is a severely malnourished looking Erika Kirk. Now, I will notice this. Erika's from Scottsdale. She's always lived in Scottsdale that I know of. She's holding hands with a girl with Scottsdale right here, and there's a girl in the background with the Scottsdale. Erika's wearing a Phoenix sash when she wins. I don't know what to make of that. But this is the moment that defined her career.
It's a very important position.
I can't play the sound because of the music in the background. It probably has a copyright on it. But anyway, she wins. They bring out the crown. Everybody mobs her. It's a big moment. Everybody, look, this is the moment every little girl dreams of, right? Being Miss Your State USA. Smiling, laughing, tearing it up. 3 years after she gave up pageantry because it was too ego boosting. 3 years after she gave it up because it wasn't for her. It wasn't the life she wanted to live. And 3 competitions later, by the way. Miss Colorado, Miss Arizona, and then Miss Arizona again. Here is the pageant bio. This is interesting because I think there's a contradiction in here. This is the pageant bio for Miss Arizona USA. Here we go. I got to click on it. Okay. Let me show you this real quick because this is interesting. Keep in mind, I just showed you there were only 2 board members of Everyday Heroes Like You. Over the past 5 years, her organization established a history of assisting other nonprofits nationwide. With board members spread out all over the country, Erika's organization is constantly finding ways to promote and propagate the everyday heroes in our communities that have an altruistic desire to make a difference. Everyday Heroes has done, like you, has done numerous events to support the Sojourner Center, Packages from Home, USO, Marine Corps, Border Patrol Foundation, Arizona Humane Society, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Boys and Girls Club, UMOM, Children's Miracle Network, Big Brother, Big Sisters, and many others. I find this fascinating for two reasons. There are only two board members. It's Lori and Erika. The paperwork is there. You can look it up. You don't have to trust your humble host. This is something you can go look at. Who are these board members spread out all over the country? So that's reason number one, this is weird. Reason number two, guys, this organization has never raised more than $50,000. It never has. It has never raised more than $50,000. But they have board members spread all out over the country, and they're constantly finding ways to propagate everyday heroes. And they're hooking up with the Sojourner Center, Packages from Home, the USO, military, the Marine Corps, military, Border Patrol Foundation, quasi-military police force. It's weird. It's a lie. Let's just say it. It's not true. It's just not true. I'm sorry. I just find it to be deeply dishonest. I find it to be deeply dishonest. Goes back to when I called her sheep dip. This is the sheep dipping operation. You create a paper trail of you all over the place, busy as a bee, doing all kinds of stuff, just riding every horse in town. I'll go back quickly and show you the Romanian angel stuff. This has been discussed quite a bit on the internet, but I don't know if you've ever seen the actual videos of the Romanian angels, but here is Erika Kirk with the Romanian angels.
I believe that we all have angels in our lives.
I believe we all have angels in our lives. I'm going to kill the music and just let the B-roll play. But this is Erika Kirk in Constanta, Romania, one of the largest child trafficking centers in the entire world. I'm not suggesting she was involved in child trafficking. It also has a massive military presence. You can see a lot of military-aged males that look like they're American military. I'm not suggesting Erika Kirk has anything to do with the United States military. But I am suggesting she's at the center of the child trafficking hub of the universe in Constanta, Romania, with a bunch of military-aged men doing military stuff. This is the Everyday Heroes Like You in action. Again, the charity that's never raised or spent more than $50,000 in a single year, but is everywhere. I mean, absolutely everywhere at all times. And look, I am not opposed to kids getting gifts. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a wonderful idea that kids would get gifts for birthdays and Christmas and just kids getting gifts for various reasons. I bought my kid a bird feeder the other day. It was his birthday, but he wanted a bird feeder. It's a nice gift. I didn't tell him I was getting it, but I knew he wanted one, so I bought him a bird feeder from the Tractor Supply. But this is, again, just a taste of the type of stuff she was getting into over there. So this brings us to 2012. This brings us to 2012 in Erika's life. Now, we finally get to see Erika Kirk as the model. I asked for evidence Erika Kirk was a model. I get evidence Erika Kirk was a model. Here is Erika Kirk modeling at least one time prom dresses. We've got prom dress number 4614. We got prom dress 4109. This is the year 2013. We have Erika Kirk modeling at least 7 different prom dresses. So there's evidence she acted at least one time in a music video her company produced. There's evidence she modeled at least one time. And that takes us up to 2013. This is about the time, if you remember Erika's timeline, this is about the time she starts shacking up with the basketball player. They go from Puerto Rico to China to Detroit. You remember he was playing professionally in Puerto Rico and then in China and then Detroit. And she tells people she lived in Puerto Rico and China. She left out the Detroit part. So she does that, and then the poor kid gets cut from the Detroit Pistons, and she leaves him like 2 days later. That's what it looks like. Because he gets cut on like a Tuesday, and on a Saturday, she's got a date in Scottsdale with a professional baseball player. It's clear you're not going to get rich and famous in the NBA. I'm looking to be a WAG, a wife and girlfriend of someone famous. So that takes us up to 2014. And you guys have seen the Amazing Race audition video. I don't need to show you that. But that is the time. Now we come back to, we're flashing back for just a moment because we flash forward. This is about the time her mom's introducing the EMP bill and she does the tweet and all that kind of stuff. Now, we've got an interview here with Dr. Ben Carson. This is, I believe, in 2014. Is that right? Yes, this is in 2014. We have Erika Kirk doing an interview, Wake Up America News Network, with Dr. Ben Carson. There's a photo, actually, that confirms the date. The exact date was September 5th, 2014. There's a Flickr photo that confirms it. So September 5th, 2014. Here is Erika Kirk in Washington, D.C. with Dr. Ben Carson, Wake Up America. And I'll just give you a brief glimpse. We're not going to watch a 4-minute video, I can assure you.
Hi, I'm Diane Marie Collins, and we are here at Wake Up America, and I have the great privilege to introduce to you, if you don't know him already, Dr. Ben Carson. Welcome, Doctor.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here for this occasion.
Now, you're kind of soft-spoken.
And you guys complain about my sound. You've lost all right to complain about sound forever. I will flash forward so we can catch Miss Kirk in action, Miss Frantzve in action.
If you had to do it all over again.
Well, if I could do it all over again,
Entrepreneur, what would you have done differently in your life if you had to do it all over again?
That's her in action. Boy, look, I don't want people judging me from my early days either. So I'm not knocking her early days. Trust me. I don't want you to go back and look at me 10 years ago and judge me on TV or radio. But that's her. That's her. If you had it to do all over again, what would you do differently? Erika, I'd like to ask you the same question. If you had it to do all over again, is it the shacking up with the boyfriend? Is that what you would do differently? Is it the weird messages with the female roommate in New York? Would you do that differently? Is it the constant lies about reading the Bible? Would you do that differently? You guys thought she was done forming charities, didn't you? No, dog. She is not done forming charities. Not at all is she done forming charities, because we have yet another charity that she forms. What's the name of this one? AZ Foothills Charity. Let me pull this up here for you. Now we have the AZ Foothills Charity. Charities everywhere. It's the charity formingest person that's ever happened. Hold on. Easier. Oh. Michael, I don't think that's the right link. No, I don't think that's the right link. Anyway, there was another charity that was formed there in the middle. Then we get the modeling. I found her modeling the the prom dress. Now we get a little more modeling in a weird bohemian outfit. Again, just enough to give us a taste that she's actually done this stuff at one point in her life. But this is here, Erika Kirk on the left, or Erika Frantzve on the left. A sneak peek from the upcoming book launching, October 1. Again, just she's out there. She models occasionally. Oh, it is the right link. Oh, well. And then we have in 2014 a photo of Miss Frantzve. Now, this is going to say 2017, but the caption says it's 3 years ago today. This is Miss Frantzve. Let the power of love shine down upon you, says someone. I love seeing you again last night since it's been years. I knew God would allow me the honor of doing so. Always have love and respect for a woman of your caliber. And there's Miss Frantzve in the middle. It looks like in a grieving outfit. This is her boyfriend. This is the pro ball player, the pro baseball player, not the pro basketball player. But this is the pro baseball player. So this would have been October of 2014. So again, in the same time window. This is all pre-Charlie Kirk. All pre-Charlie Kirk. Then we get this weird day. Do you remember when it came out that Erika Kirk was actually at the Trump rally? This would have been 2015. That's her in the red dress in the back. See her back there? That's Erika Kirk in the red dress in the back. That's her there. There's this unknown child to her left. I initially dismissed this child. I didn't think much about this child. If you watch the video, she actually interacts with this child quite a bit. I think Stu Peters interviewed this guy right here. It's not his kid. And they weren't together. But there's another picture of Erika back there. If you watch the video, she like leans down and interacts with this kid. It's just a weird place to put a 7-year-old kid on the back row between two strangers. And I'm not suggesting that's her kid by any stretch of the imagination. But I will point out a weird quirk in the timeline that seems to make sense. You remember that 8 months when she disappeared? And only her pastor's wife saw her? That was like 6 or 7 years before this. And then there's like this weird 6 or 7-year-old kid that looks just like her hanging next to her. Same round face, same blue eyes, same color hair. I am not suggesting that's her kid. I'm not necessarily suggesting that's her kid. I'm not guaranteeing that's her kid. Let me say that. I'm not guaranteeing that's her kid. But what I am suggesting is that the timeline kind of adds up. I mean, if you disappear for 8 months and you can't play basketball, but you're still in Colorado, and then you show up 8 years later or 7 years later, and there's a kid that's like 7 years old that looks just like you standing next to you, I think we're at least allowed to ask. But I don't know. Maybe it's someone else's kid. I'm not stating it as fact. I'm not even really speculating. I'm just pointing out the timeline. But we know for a fact how she ended up there. We're going to find out more details about this relationship later. But I've got to set this moment up. We know for a fact how Erika Kirk ended up at this event. We know that because Tyler Bowyer tells us how Erika Kirk ended up at this event.
Selfishly, I wanted him to love Arizona because I had recently convinced him to move Turning Point USA to Arizona. It was a hard sell at first, and that was until I hosted the first Trump rally in Trump rally history right here in Arizona in 2015. I got a call. From Miss Erika Kirk, Miss Arizona 2012. I just want to help, she said. So naturally, I put her right behind the president at that first rally. After that, we talked. It was obvious she was the perfect person for the job that Charlie and I had devised in one of our 24-hour planning sessions. I wanted to hire her. I only had one problem. Charlie Kirk wanted to date her.
I don't believe that story for a second, by the way. That story is melting away day by day, but whatever. I'll allow it for now because we'll examine the veracity of that story here in a little bit. But for now, just accept that the official narrative is Tyler Bowyer plans the first ever Donald Trump for president rally in Arizona. And out of the blue, a woman he doesn't know or barely knows or may have met before, may have exchanged calls with before. It's very cloudy and very unclear, but out of the blue, Erika Frantzve, who heretofore is globetrotting, living in China, living in Puerto Rico, living in Colorado, living in California, dating basketball players, dating baseball players, living in spending a great deal of time in Tulsa with the baseball player, spending a great deal of time in Michigan with the basketball player. All of a sudden, she just can't help herself. And she says, I've got to get to Arizona for the Trump rally. I should find out who is hosting the Trump rally, who's planning it. And she finds out it's Tyler Bowyer, so she reaches out to him. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. I also want to point out the timeline here that when you hear her explain the Charlie meeting in 2018, they supposedly met in 2018. In one version, she says she lived in New York City for 5 years at that point. That would be back to 2013. In another version, she says she lived in New York for 6 years at that point. That would take it back to 2012. That would take it back to when she graduated college, meaning she immediately left college and moved right to New York City, which there's no evidence of that. She was living in China. She was living in Puerto Rico. She was in Michigan. She was in Oklahoma. She was in Scottsdale to meet the baseball player. I mean, there's just no evidence that that's accurate or real or realistic. But it's even weirder if she was living in New York City at the time and she thinks, there's a Trump rally in Phoenix. I should get involved. I should find out who's hosting it. Oh, it's a guy named Tyler Bowyer. I should contact him. Oh, I should go. I should be on the stage. Oh, I mean, it just really makes no sense when you start to add it up, but it's the sheep dip story we've been presented. That takes us to 2016 because we're past the Trump rally now. Now we're on 2016. 2016 is when she founds Bible in 365. Bible in 365. And Everyday Heroes Like You now becomes Proclaim and Lead Ministry. Under Proclaim and Lead Ministry, you have two businesses. You have Bible in 365 and you have Proclaim Streetwear. I'm here to tell you I don't think either of them have been very successful at all, because neither one of them combined has made more than $50,000 a year, or she'd be having to file tax filings for this company. Again, we're told she's a model. We can only find one or two instances where she actually modeled something. We're told she's an actress. We can only find one instance where she was an actress and she kind of hired herself, or at least her company paid for the gig. In the midst of all of this, everything else going on, out of the blue, yet again, just like her mom, for some reason, she opens yet another company. This company is called the Elm Group, ELM. The Elm Group. The Elm Group, Edward Ribanera, the organizer, but this is Erika Frantzve's group. She is the member here. The sole member, Erika Frantzve. What's interesting about this is, if you go to any of her old Wayback Machine websites and you want to book with Erika, you want to hire Erika to be a model or an actress or book her to speak or something, her booking agency is called the Elm Group. The Elm Group. Meaning, not only did she open Table 4 LLC and hire her for her only known acting gig that I can find, then she opens the Elm Group and is her own booking. She's the sole member of the company that's her booking agency. So if you hire her for speaking or acting or modeling, you're booking through her own company. It's very strange. Very strange. I really want to know what's up with all these individual companies. It's just too much. It's just too much. While she's living in New York City, strangely, weirdly, she begins dating Cabot Phillips. This is the Cabot Phillips dating origin. This is 2017. Now we're up to 2017. She's formed the Elm Group. She's living in New York City from somewhere between 2 and 5 years, depending on which version of the story she's telling. And here it is, Erika Kirk under fire after photos surfaced appearing showing her dating Cabot Phillips in 2017. This is during the time she said she was single for 5 years before meeting Charlie in 2018. Oops, lied again. On December 16, Cabot was the speaker for How to Lead Like Charlie with TPUSA. What are your thoughts? Okay, so These are yes, we're the couple who gets painting lessons together. And then there's all the little love. How cute are y'all? Gorgeous couple. Again, this is June of 2017. Love birds. So it's clear they're dating. And she tells Barry Weiss, we weren't dating. I'll show that in just a second. I wasn't dating at the time. Oh, whoops. Now, we blasted all the way up until Erika meets Charlie. We've gone from her birth to 2017. In 2018, they meet each other. I have multiple versions of that, and they're not the same. I'll play the first one first. This is Erika Kirk from a Q&A session. Explaining how Erika met Charlie. So let me play this right here. Tell me if this is the story you've heard. This is from early 2025. You tell me if this is the version of when Erika met Charlie you're familiar with.
Babies. But I think I know how Erika and Charlie met. Do you want to know how they met? Okay, let's find out.
So if you ask him, this is the typical.
I just want to pause and say one thing. Ladies, be very cautious when you get in the spray tan booth. When you walk in there, be cautious. They can overdo it. And I just want you to be very wary of that. I'm not talking about Erika. But this is her version in early 25 of how they met.
Husband, wife. Like the husband has a very Spark Notes version, condensed. And then the woman has the longer, more meandering version. So I'll try to blend the two. It was a while ago. I can't even keep track of dates anymore with babies and anniversary dates and everything else in between. So
that's weird. I'm sorry, that's weird. I met my wife on October 8th, 1998. I don't have to say it was a while ago. And Erika, it's going on 30 years for me. I was 18 years old. It's weird you don't know any dates, even of your children's birthdays or your anniversary or the day you met or anything like that. But I digress.
Anyways, so we had met through a family friend.
You met through a what? Did you catch it? They met through a family friend?
So I'll try to blend the two.
Play it again.
It was a while ago. I can't even keep track of dates anymore with babies and anniversary dates and everything else in between. So anyways, so we had met through a family friend.
That honestly is the first time I've heard that Erika Kirk was a family friend of Tyler Bowyer. It's the first time I've heard it. They've been real coy about how they know each other. They've been real coy about how they met. Did you know Erika Kirk before the event on that Trump spoke at in Arizona? Well, maybe. I don't know. Had you ever talked to her? Maybe we texted a few times. I don't know. We met through a family friend. I'm going to keep playing it.
He had invited me to the office opening for Turning Point USA.
So the family friend, Tyler Bowyer, invites Erika to the Turning Point USA opening, the headquarter opening. That took place on August 10th, 2018. Just to give you some dates. Because Erika, I know dates. I know you don't worry about dates. I know dates. The family friend invites her to the Turning Point headquarters event. Let me just tell you what's happening here. I'm not going to make you speculate. Tyler was trying to hook him up with her then. There's no other reason for her to be there. She's not in politics. She lives in New York City. She's studying to get her real estate license. Why is she there? Why is she there? Why would Tyler Bowyer invite her to the HQ opening on August 10th? But nevertheless, longtime family friend or family friend, that's how you describe someone that your parents know. That's not someone how you describe you know.
which I know several of you guys are supporters of. So thank you for all of your support for Turning Point USA. And so I went to the office opening and he was like, you need to meet the CEO. And I was like, okay, great.
You need to meet the CEO. In other words, I, Tyler Bowyer, know my boy Charlie is in dire need of a wife. He's getting a little long in the tooth, and if we're going to make him president one day, he's got to have a wife. We don't want people speculating he's like Lindsey Graham. We got to get him married off, Erika. I'm going to invite you to the HQ. I'm going to introduce you guys.
No, I was not familiar with that world at all. But the interesting point is that year, that was in August. In May, I had taken a pilgrimage with my mom to Israel. And my whole intention of that trip was to find my future husband.
Come again? Why did you go to Israel with your mom? Your whole intention was to find a husband? I mean, I know some people don't like the dating apps. Fine. I know some people don't love the bar scene. Granted. I know churches aren't exactly populated in New York City with people your age. Understood. You know, but maybe try another state in the United States. Do you know anybody? Because I get this a lot. I get this from people a lot. Oh man, I'd love to meet somebody. Single guy. I'm 28. I'm 32. Whatever. Where should I go to meet somebody? You know what words have never escaped my mouth? Jerusalem. You should go to Jerusalem. You should go to Israel. That's where you should go to meet a mate. Huh? Your whole intention, your first ever trip to the Holy Land, your first ever trip to Israel, your first ever trip to the area was to find a husband. Who was going to introduce you to this husband? I've got a suspicion of who she was going to be introduced to. But who do you think was going to introduce her to a husband? She went with her mom. I mean, it's not like she wore a sandwich board out on Main Street, Jerusalem, ringing a cowbell. Husband, need a husband. Are you my husband? You remember the book, Are You My Mother? And the little bird runs up to the tractor. Are you my mother? And the bird runs up to the snake. Are you my mother? I don't even know how you would go to Israel to find a husband. I mean, seriously, short of putting on a sandwich board that says, philanthropist, studying for real estate license, hired myself to be in a music video, run my own agency that only I'm a member of, desperately seeking husband at the bottom. I have no idea how you would even begin to find a husband in Jerusalem. How long were you there? Do you speak the language? Are you specifically looking for an American or a non-American? It's just a weird place to go. Like I usually advise people, find a good church. There'll be a woman there, I promise. There are a lot of good dating apps. Check them out. You can find a woman there. It's never dawned on me to say you should travel to a foreign country with your mom. That'll be the ticket. Men are going to be knocking down the door for that one. They're going to love to see the old woman in tow with mom in foreign country looking for a husband. That's not going to look desperate at all. They won't see right through that. This may be the weirdest Erika Kirk fact I've uncovered in a long time. The whole point of my trip to Jerusalem was to find a husband. A very, very weird development in the Erika Kirk saga. Now, I would suggest, I'll suggest in a second. I want to let it roll for just another minute. I'm going to roll back and play that again, though.
USA, which I know several of you guys are supporters of. So thank you for all of your support for Turning Point USA. And so I went to the office opening and he was like, you need to meet the CEO. And I was like, okay, great. I don't know. I was not familiar with that world at all. But the interesting point is that year, that was in August. In May, I had taken a pilgrimage with my mom to Israel. And my whole intention of that trip was to find my future husband. If there was a hole in a rock anywhere to put a prayer, and those of you who've been to Israel, you know that the Wailing Wall, all the different places you can stick a prayer on a little piece of paper, that was me. Like, had a piece of paper everywhere, little put in prayer, God heard me, answered. So that was my whole thing. So after that, it was our last day on that trip, and there's this most precious server that was there, and he looked at me at the end of the trip, and I was saying goodbye, and he was like, I'll see you again soon. He's like, I'll see you here in about 1.5 years from now with your husband. And I was like, oh.
I haven't heard this part of the story.
I know, because I usually.
Yeah, because it's not true. I don't know if she's telling it for the first time, if she rehearsed this in the mirror. I'm just telling you, this didn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. This didn't happen. I don't believe this story at all. In my opinion, it's not true. There's no part of me believes there was some random server in Jerusalem when you're on this pilgrimage, not to get in touch with your faith, not to see the footsteps of Jesus, not to follow the way of the cross. No, no, no. I'm there specifically to find a husband. And the Lord spoke to me through the local server.
Usually give this, I feel like I need to give okay. So we're giving like the real, and so I usually
No, we're not, but I'll let her continue.
don't tell this part because it's very intimate, but
I don't tell this part because it's not true. Oh, I'll stop interrupting. I'll stop it, guys.
feel like I should. Bloom where you're planted, right? Okay. So he said that to me. I carried that in my heart. I timestamp things in my phone. When someone says something or I overhear something, I use my notes all the time. And I like to look back to see what time that was, what year that was. I save all that. Anyway, so I have it in my phone. And
she takes impeccable notes about dates and times for someone that doesn't know when she met her husband or what her kids' birthdays are. She takes impeccable notes, other than the basics, like how long have I been married? What's our anniversary? What's my birthday? Other than that, I mean, she can tell you about a conversation she had with the server.
thrown off by it, held it in my heart, didn't think anything of it. Then I went to go to the ticket line to leave. I was with my mom. There's only a few flights out at the night in Israel back to the States. And so I was standing there at the ticket line, and there was a guy who was checking out with the guy, you know what I'm talking about, get your ticket, check your bag. And I see him and I was like, I tell my mom, I was like, that guy looks really familiar. And my mom.
He looks really familiar. It's Charlie. She's talking about Charlie. That guy looks really familiar. Remember when she went to TPUSA headquarters opening, she just told this story 2 minutes ago. When she went to TPUSA headquarters opening, she had no idea about their world. Yeah, fine, I'll meet the CEO, but I don't know anything about what you guys do. I'm not at all plugged in with your world. And I guess their world is what, politics? And again, square that with what she says to Jillian, the 15-year-old, on her Facebook page or Instagram page. We played this clip before where we pulled up the quote of her. Dom found this quote, as a matter of fact. I don't give a Dom. Where we pull up her quote that says she's really involved in DC politics. So are you really involved in politics? In which case you might know who Charlie Kirk is, or at least know what TPUSA is and who heads it up. Or are you not involved in politics? Are you involved enough that when you see Charlie Kirk, you say, man, that guy looks really familiar? Or are you not involved in politics to where you wouldn't even know who the CEO of Turning Point USA is? It's a very muddy story. I mean, we're only like 2.5 minutes into this story.
Mom's like, go say hi. Those of you who know my mom, like that's something go say hi and say hi to him. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I don't know. I just looks familiar. And so anyways, fast forward from May to August, I'm standing in the office and our family friend was like, you need to meet the owner, blah, blah, blah. And he turns around and was like, oh, hi, you're the guy from the ticket line.
And that's the big money line. You're the guy from the ticket line. Is the story true? I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm having trouble squaring the fact that Tyler Bowyer's a family friend. But when you ask how you knew each other, neither one of you knows. You'll tell a bunch of strangers he's a family friend, but after your husband dies and people are like, hey, wait a minute, how do you know Tyler Bowyer? Oh, I don't know. Well, is he a family friend or not? Because if he's a family friend, he knows my mom. He knows my uncle. He knows my aunt. Then we get this. Fast forward to the CBS town hall. We get a different version. Get a different version this time. A totally different version of how they knew each other, how they met, all this. I don't want to say totally different, but it's certainly a different version.
It's not. Granted, my situation was a little different. I wouldn't do it.
You went to a job interview.
Literally. So this is how good the Lord is. He knew that because I was not dating in New York City, he knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview.
He had to blanket Charlie as a job interview because you wouldn't have gone out with him. You flew halfway around the country in search of a husband. But if somebody invited you on a date, you'd say no. Like you just told the lady at the Bloom conference, I went to Jerusalem. I went to Israel to find a husband. But you weren't dating and you would have never gone on a date with somebody. Huh? Even though we know you were dating Cabot Phillips, even though we knew you were dating the basketball player, even though we knew you were dating the baseball player, even though we knew you were dating that other guy, you weren't dating. And you were so desperate to find a husband that you went to Israel to find one with your mom. But the Lord knew that if Charlie had approached you and asked for a date, you would have said no because you weren't dating at the time. It's a very confusing set of facts. It's confusing because frankly it's just not true. But we'll let her have her full thought here.
New York City. He knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview. Because if that went in, no joke, if he came to me and said, hey, let's go on a date to Bill's Burgers, I'd be like, I am so sorry. Thank you, but no, we're not doing this.
How was she going to get married? How was she going to find a husband? Again, this is a big deal to me. This is a massive deal to me because she is a congenital liar. She tells stories depending on where she is, and I don't want a person like that picking the next president of the United States. I don't want a person like that controlling who wins the Republican primary for president of the United States. It's a big story. Now, I want to end this way tonight because now we also have Tyler's version of this story. We have Erika's version, we have Erika's other version, and we have now Tyler's version of this story. And I want to play Tyler's version, and I'll bring this portion to a conclusion. This brings us up to them meeting, but we have Tyler's version of how they came to be. And it's a little different. It's a little different than frankly, the two other stories that Erika's been telling.
Can you explain why Arizona for Turning Point? How did that all happen?
Well, I'm here.
I know.
So I'm from here.
Did you bring him here and say, this is where you should do it?
That's right.
You're the reason.
So I don't know if I want to call myself the reason. I think Erika's the reason. I think ultimately if it
Erika's the reason you moved the headquarters to Arizona? Ultimately? Erika's the reason you moved the headquarters? Supposedly, the first time they met was at the headquarter tape cutting on August 10th. That's the first time you guys met. But ultimately, Erika's the reason. Now yeah, congenital liar, meaning from birth. It's endemic to her condition. Like you have a congenital heart disease, meaning you were born with it. I stole that from someone I used to practice law with. But he goes on to explain, he catches himself here. He said, ultimately, Erika's the reason. You'll see him look off camera and immediately start manufacturing a different story. And then he goes back to the Erika's the reason story at the end. So I don't want to do him a disservice by cutting him off there because it'll look like I'm deceptively editing it. So I'm going to play it through this time. But after he says Erika's the reason, watch his eyes and the panic in his face.
Him here and say, this is where you should do it.
That's right.
You're the reason.
So I don't know if I want to call myself the reason. I think Erika's the reason. I think ultimately, if it would have been for Erika being here, probably God wouldn't have got Charlie to nudge him to be here. But yeah, I'm a 7th generation Arizonan. We were in Chicago. That's where Charlie's from. He's a Chicago boy through and through, Cubs fan. But those negative 10-degree winters are really tough to get people to move to. And so I remember, I actually remember exactly where I was standing when I got the phone call, and he's like, that's it. We can open up an office in Phoenix. And we did. We had an office. I originally opened in Mesa, right down the street from where I lived. And then we ultimately got where we got it now, right by the Arizona Grand Resort. But it was a hard sell at the beginning because he's a Chicago boy.
Sure.
And I got him here, and he was a little cautiously optimistic about what Arizona would look like. And then he met Erika, and that was an easy sell.
That sealed the deal.
That sealed the deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, Erika sealed the deal on Arizona. It looked to me like he was walking it back a little bit. Like he realized, oh gosh, I've just ruined their meeting narrative. So here's what I think happened. I'll kind of conclude this way. I do think I can kind of synthesize all the different stories. I do think she went to Israel to meet her husband. I think she went there to meet Charlie. I think that was the plan. Charlie was there with Candace, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They were there for the movement of the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem that happened under the first Trump administration in May of 2018. Charlie went over there for that. And Erika went over there to find a husband. Again, I don't believe she just went over there to walk around town with a sign saying, I need a husband. Are you my husband? Are you my husband? Are you my husband? I think there was a setup in place. I know where this guy's going to be. It'll be magical. You'll meet overseas. We'll make it so you just happen to run into each other. It's going to be great. And I do believe they probably met. It probably wasn't just a airport sighting. It's not unusual for famous couples to invent a narrative around how they met. This happened with Katy Perry and Russell Brand. They acted like, oh, they just happened to meet on set, when years later it's discovered they actually knew each other for a long time before that and had been flirting and all that. You have the Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson deal where, oh yeah, they just happened to have this whirlwind romance that kicked off right as the Twilight series was getting going. And then right as the Twilight series wrapped filming for the final time, they break up. Oh, and she goes and now lives with a woman. So it's not unusual that you have these manufactured Hollywood narratives that go along with it. But that's that's the story. They live happily ever after. And I don't believe their story for a second. I believe it less day by day. I believe it less day by day. I think she's a deeply dishonest person. She was dishonest when she said she was giving up pageants and then went right back into them for 3 more years. She was dishonest when she said she just happened to get a notice in the mail. That's why she ran for Miss Arizona. No, you'd been doing pageants for like 3 or 4 years before that. She was dishonest when she said she wasn't dating in New York City when she had at least 3 for the 5 years leading up to Charlie, when she had at least 3 boyfriends that we know of during that time, including some she appeared to live with overseas. She was deeply dishonest when she talked about their meeting narrative. She was dishonest when she said she didn't know Tyler Bowyer, didn't remember how she met. She told Candace that face to face. And then she tells that person that Tyler Bowyer was a family friend. She's dishonest representing what her charities do, how much work they do. She's dishonest when she represents that they have board members all over the country when it's just her mom and her. She's just a deeply dishonest person. She was dishonest when she said she played basketball for 2 years. She didn't. She played basketball for 1 year. She was dishonest when she said the reason she moved back to Arizona was because she won the Miss Arizona contest when she had already been living in Arizona at the time. She was dishonest when she said she had never read the Bible all the way through until 2016, when the reality was she had already said she'd read the Bible straight through multiple times in 2008 or 9. Like, this is not the case of somebody who just got a story wrong once or twice. This is a deeply troubled woman. This is a deeply dishonest person. And the problem with that is she has been placed, due to the death of her husband and the reckless appointment of her to this position by those closest to her, she's been placed in a position of tremendous power. I would say more power than most elected officials. And we would want to know if they were wandering around lying all the time. We would just want to know. And if you're going to be this deeply dishonest, we have a right to ask, what role, if any, did you have in your husband's demise? Where were you on the days leading up to his demise? Were you home, like you said? Where were you on the morning of? Were you in the clinic with your mom, like you said? Because I can't take you at your word anymore. So all these people saying she doesn't owe you an alibi. Well, actually, she does. She does. Her track record says I can't take her word for anything. Nothing. I have no ability to take her word for anything she says. Because there's just no part of her life that's real. She's constructed a narrative that's completely false. And we have a right, because she's running a public charity, that aims, at least according to her, to get J.D. Vance elected in 2028, we have a right to know more about her life. This is not somebody we can sit on the sidelines on. That does not make Candace Owens evil because she's looking into this woman. In fact, I think it exonerates Candace Owens. I think all the people online that are calling Candace evil for her Bride of Charlie series owe her an apology. They need to get in her comments, or they need to send her an email. They need to send her a text, send her a direct message and say, Candace, I apologize. You have every right to examine this woman's life. She's been placed in a position of tremendous power. And we find now that she's a deeply dishonest person that is a pathological, or maybe a liar from birth. Maybe it's congenital. Maybe she can't help it. I tend not to believe that. I think she knows she's lying. And I know there are those of you at TPUSA who watch this program. And this is who you work for. Andrew, this is who you work for. This is who you're staking your entire reputation to. This woman that we've discussed tonight in detail. I wouldn't want to work for her. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't want to work for her at all. All right, let me make my way through some of your comments here. I told you people I came to eat macadamia nuts and be nice to commenters, and I'm all out of macadamia nuts. So it's your lucky day. I'm going to be nice to you guys. Thank you for all you do. I pray for you and your family to be safe. Hold please while I check the emails. LOL, I love the way you present information. Very easy to follow. I hope tonight was easy to follow. I kid you not. Redacted News has sponsor IQ Joe. Well, I bet it's a high IQ outfit. I like Redacted News. What do you think about the U.S. blowing up a school full of children as a preemptive strike? Yeah, I gave my thoughts on that. I'm disgusted by the whole thing. If you watched last night's show, you could tell I was deeply disturbed. That was the first time I'd come on air since it all started. And I was deeply bothered by the whole. And it showed, and I apologize. I should be more professional than that. I always look forward to watching Charlie every day, and now he's gone. I look forward to watching you. Well, that's a humbling statement. I think he would have really liked you, which makes it even better to be here with you. I like to believe he would. I don't know, though. My lingering thoughts on last night's conversation. Who would leak a pre-recorded podcast? Something's odd about this. The reality is I don't know because it was an anonymous email source. So I honestly have no idea who it was. Hey, B, how about we set up an auto reply on emails? Rest assured your email's been received. May not receive a personal reply, yada, yada. But if you're emailing about the palm pistol, block. No, I'm not going to do that. No, because I'm in a good mood tonight. I am in a much better mood, or at least a better disposition. I'll say that. P.S. Glad to see you didn't spend Saturday painting. I hope you got some mental and physical rest. Be well, stay healthy. I did. Saturday was good. Saturday was good. I got to see the family a little bit. Why did you pull a Glenn Beck last night and not give us the show you prepared for that was going to change everything? Did someone get to you? No one got to me. I thought it was a big show. I thought it was explosive, and it's explosive for two reasons. One is, if it turns out to be true, it's dynamite. Like I'm not underselling that. If it turns out that key is really accurate, and again, I don't have access to all that, I think it's a tremendous story because you have somebody 10 or 15 feet from Charlie Kirk at the time he's dead who was involved in something like that. No, it's possible. It's not true. It's possible the key doesn't work. Again, all I can do is report to you what I've been told. And I think it was a big deal that this story was floating around out there and hadn't been discussed. I thought it was a huge deal. And so if you disagree, that's fine. I'm open to disagreement on that. Since Erika goes into hiding when pregnant, because she had been pregnant in college and that little girl been hers at the Trump rally in Arizona that she was hit with. Yeah. I don't know if that little girl was hers, but I absolutely think she could have been pregnant in college. This is a woman who tells everyone who'll listen she didn't want to be a beauty queen. She didn't want to be a pageant girl. She wanted to be a professional basketball player. Well, you don't become a professional basketball player by stopping playing basketball. And so if her passion in life truly was basketball, I'm trying to think of what would have torn her away from the game. And it's just a reality that professional athletes who are women have to take time off, or athletes in general who are women, generally speaking, have to take time off when they get pregnant. Because a pregnancy's, 9 months, it typically lasts through the season, whatever you play. And even if you're postpartum during your season when it kicks off, I mean, you just had a baby. You're in no shape to play ball. And so I think a pregnancy absolutely would have ended her basketball career, and I don't rule it out for a second. Hubby is prior military intel and qualified firearms expert, says Paul gun is not beyond possibility. Count to 3. Sets up to others. Count 2 and 1 for a shot. He smiles. He is 1 smiles behind table. I'd like to see it, but I'd like to see the palm pistol shot taken under pressure, meaning someone who thinks they can make their shot. If you miss, you got to show up to church naked or something. You like there needs to be pressure associated with it. You can't just everybody get one grab at it and one random person makes the shot. I mean, I need to see a pro who says I can make that shot, and then let's put some pressure on it. If you miss, there's a real consequence. Because I don't believe it, not for a second. Hey, Baron. Oh my gosh, Lombardi. Who is this family? This is so crazy. You cannot make this up. Look forward to your podcast every day. I look forward to it too. I don't know what to make of the Lombardi thing. I had not heard that until tonight on Candace's show. I have not had a chance to look into it. The only thing I did was pull up Vince Lombardi's bio and see where was he about the time Lori Frantzve was born. And the only thing I can tell is he was coaching at Army. Now, maybe Army played a road game at Pittsburgh and Vince Lombardi went out for beers and had his way with Lori's purported wife. I don't know. But I can't think of any other way he's not old enough. He wouldn't be her grandparents' parent. That doesn't make sense. So it would have to be Lori's dad if she's a direct descendant of Vince Lombardi, and I just don't buy it for a second. Now, I'm not ruling out that she told Charlie that at some point because I don't find anything she says honest. Almost late to the live because I was called by a company in Dallas for a survey on my opinions of the current administration of war. Mentioned Philly a lot. I bet it did. Hey, Baron, EK just lied to CK and he just believed her. Well, at least first, I think he got taken from the very beginning. I do too. I agree. I think she just lied to him from the beginning. Poor guy probably had no idea who he was married to. More Erika coverage. I can't figure out how Charlie couldn't see the fraud in her. I don't know. Tony Soprano was smart. He was in waste management, owned a club, legit businesses. Well, I mean, Lori Frantzve and Erika Frantzve have dozens of LLCs and charities. So those are legitimate businesses in theory. If DPU is a nonprofit, why does the IRS fine them from promoting politicians in a political party? That's illegal. I agree with you. And I have the same question. How, when she said we're going to get JD Vance elected, she was on a stage paid for by TPUSA, the 501c3, in front of a backdrop that said TPUSA, the 501c3. And she's there actively politically campaigning for a guy saying who they're going to vote for. And I can't imagine the IRS not saying, you can't do that. Does anyone know if CK dated prior to Evil Eyes? I'm aware of one girl he liked, but I don't think it didn't work out, obviously. They didn't get married. But other than that, I don't know. I just know the one girl he kind of liked. Ooh, oatmeal cream sounds so comforting at this time. I like it. More comfort, less war. Yes. More comfort, less war would be ideal. 100% convinced that little girl around 7 years old next to Erika at the 2015 AZ DJT rally is Erika's child. Thoughts? God bless you and yours. It's crossed my mind. It's absolutely crossed my mind. War is like my dad taught me about fighting. If I hear you started it, I'll kick your butt. If I hear you ran from it, I'll kick your butt. Yeah, but we started it. If osteoporosis was a color, it would be that hoodie. I'm going to take that as a compliment. I mean, I don't know how you intended it, but I am taking it as a compliment. Thank you for all you're doing, Baron. I pray for your health and safety. God bless you and your family. Well, God bless you as well. Drake, thanks for the kind words. I was about to say that I really love your energy tonight, and then I realized you were on 1.25 speed. I'm a few minutes behind. I got to play catch up. Your channel's the greatest. I've only watched myself a few times on high speed, and the wiggling is bananas. I won't hit the like button if you don't read my email. Oh, yeah, that's not right. Oh, yeah, go hit the like button. Where are we on likes? You guys, did you hit enough like buttons? Yeah, close. We're about 1/3 of the people currently watching have hit the like button. That's a stern warning for the other 2/3 of you. It's inexcusable. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. Regarding the woman who said, you know what causes that about your children, my husband always says that you don't ask questions you don't want answers to. My husband and I have 5 children, and we love watching you. Crisis King indeed. Congrats on your 5 kids. And yes, I've made it a point when someone says, you know what causes that, to let them know we do. We do. Thank you for that kind contribution. Tomorrow will mark 3 years since I quit drinking. I just celebrated my 3 years a couple of months ago. So welcome to the 3-year club. I can't wait to celebrate wins with our members that have just embarked on their sober journey. Thank you for giving us a place to cheer each other on. Yeah, I love that about the comments, that we're encouraging each other to be sober, clean, live better lives, go to church, have a good time, love the people around you. I mean, I love this comment section. There was a comment last night on the YouTube video about somebody who was not stopping. I think they said tapering, meaning they probably drink a whole lot for the first time last night. And they were like, please pray for me. So guys, if you are the praying type, keep that person in your mind, because they're going to need some prayers. Baron on the night comes from West Point Army, means institutional mastery of a particular set of skills. Night operations, West Point's website. I don't think that guy went to West Point. He can't spell. I have Evie, 1 Lombardi, 2 Lori's grandma. Lombardi is Lori's grandma. Tanya lived at an address in birth anno in December 88. I don't know what that means. Lived at address in birth. Oh, in the birth anniversary announcement. Yeah. EK and Jerry lived in Brooklyn same time. Lori has 100% bio bro. I don't know what that means. Solomon had 3 wives, 6 Kent, Lori using Kirk. Kent and Lori are using Kirk. I don't know if that's true. If it is, that's weird. Speaking of Jerry Frantzve, they did live in New York at the same time, and I think they might have lived in the same place at the same time because, I don't know that I can show you right now. I'd have to pull that up, and I don't know that I have it quite available to me immediately. Let's see if I can find this. No, Frantzve, not Kirk. So I showed you the unclaimed funds for California. Here are the unclaimed funds for New York. Erika Frantzve also has this. This is interesting to me, though. It's listed as Erika Frantzve, but the year it was reported was 2024, which means maybe she was still using that name. But if you look just below that, Jerry Frantzve, that's the old stepmom. Or I guess she was the stepmom before Erika was born, but that's Jerry Frantzve. That's Frantzve's wife. Kent Frantzve's first wife. And she has some funds reported in 2014. And supposedly, if Erika Kirk is to be believed, she also was living in New York at that same time. And I'll say this. This is 1804 Glenwood Road, Brooklyn. I have a Brooklyn address, and I'd have to pull it up and look at it. And you just inspired me to do that. I have a Brooklyn address for Erika Kirk in my notes. I'd have to go back and find it. But I have it in there. So it's possible. Maybe she lived with her. I don't know. But they certainly did live in New York at the same time. There's no doubt about that. Congrats on 3 years sober in May. Well, congrats on 2 years and almost 3 years. War Darn Eagle makes the $2 option burn orange. Oh, make the $2 option burn orange. I got you. No more Ye and Cody, Wyoming. Although the more I learn, the more I'd like to have a beer with that guy. Those pamphlets on the airlines are why us men over 40 know how to know random airline facts. Yes, that's true. That means you were too cheap to buy a magazine when you got there. And you forgot to bring a book. Baron, I want to become Catholic. Don't know where to begin. Raised by agnostic parents. I'm 24. Just opened my first Bible. Feel lost and intimidated. How should I start this journey? So you could buy like a Catholics for Dummies book. I mean, that exists. I'm not calling you a dummy, but I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. Or I always send people to Rome Sweet Home. Typically they come from some sort of a Protestant background, and it's better for that. But I think Rome Sweet Home by Scott Hahn might even be good if you have any kind of acknowledgement or any kind of understanding of Christianity at all. It does a really good job of breaking the whole thing open. But you can always, go like to your local parish and talk to the priest and tell him what you just told me, and he'll usually point you in the right direction. Probably the OCI classes or something. Let you sit in with them. Because they're really good explanatory classes. But best of luck to you as you start your faith journey. We'll be praying for you. Jess Happy. Thank you, Jess. But Baron, my husband still has not looked at our credit card charges. So here's to you and your incredible crew. Don't send your husband to me. I'm not demanding these. These are gifts. No Joe behavior in chat rule. Don't be mean. Christ is King. Prayers to all our loved ones stuck in war zone. None of us want it. Yeah. You guys are being very efficient with your use of comments by putting like 6 comments in each one. Thank you, by the way, for that generosity. Baron cargo ship 1 Henry Hudson fire at LAX 11/22/25 on 9/10. Ship in Rotterdam went through Strait of Gibraltar between 9:30 and 10:03. Does this fit the timeline? Fire caused lithium batteries. Same NH370 cargo fire. Philadelphia involved in disappearance. So I don't know a lot about the MH370 thing. I will say this: at the time that ship went, the MH370 disappeared, I had a consulting company and I had an employee. He was a great employee, but I lost all productivity out of this guy for like 2 weeks because he was fascinated. He would spend all day on his computer, and I thought he was working because I'd look in his office. We had windows. I'd look in there, and he's just banging away on the keyboard. I'm like, man, this guy's really productive lately. No time out on the couches. No time talking to the other employees. No, he didn't do anything for 2 weeks except research the MH370 disappearance. That's the only thing I know about it. Is it totally captivated one of my employees at one time. I don't know if it fits the timeline or not. I think Jesse's doing a follow-up show on it, though. That might be a little more explanatory. Marco Rubio's explanation took me back to who's on first. Exactly. You can't say that we use self-defense because we knew if they were attacked, they would attack us, so we went ahead and attacked them. Then don't attack them. Off topic, but this has been on my mind. What do you think about CO saying she and CK could astral project? Candace actually commented on that in our comments one day. Twice. She was in the comment section twice, dropping supers, explaining the astral projection. I want to say that Candace said she never said she astral projected after becoming Catholic, because I wondered whether there was some issues with that. I don't think she would mind me sharing this. I actually saw some of those text messages. She let me look at them. I'll vouch for her. They're real. They definitely talked about it. Charlie talked about it in depth. I won't go any farther than that. But anyone saying she is like lying, saying about the time traveling Charlie, nope. She's 100% right. She is being honest. She's just telling you what she knows. In fact, she's holding back a lot. A lot. I don't know if she just given enough or whatever, but it's a wild story. But yes, no, she weighed in on that. I don't know, man. Like, if I understand astral projecting correctly, and I'm not saying I do, I may not. But I talked to a guy at my gym after we talked about it on this show who said, I do that. I said, what do you mean you do that? And he said, well, sometimes I'll get up and I'll get out of my bed and I'll walk away and I'll realize my body's still lying there. And that's just my conscience has left my body. I said, what do you do? He goes, I have to go wake up my wife so she can wake up my body so my conscience can get back in it and I won't be trapped. And he told me this. I was like, well, how do you wake up your wife? He's like, my conscience stands over her and screams. And it eventually wakes her up. And then she wakes my body up. And then I'm able to get back in my body. Do I think that guy's doing something evil? No, I don't think he's doing it on purpose. And if what Candace is describing, and I've never heard her go too in depth on it, but if what she's describing is something similar to that she's just able to disconnect her conscience from her body and move around the room, I don't think that's necessarily evil. I think what becomes evil is when you start trying to leave this realm and go to other planes or go to other places or go to other levels. I think that's where I start to say, I don't know that God intended us to do this, and I wouldn't be messing with it. Like, I would just stay here in 2026. Stay here on Earth plane. You know, if you wake up and you get out of your body and you want to look around and walk around the room, who among us, right? But I don't know that you should be searching out deeper places in the universe to go to. I'm not sure about all that. I'd be worried about that. But I can't do it. So now I have had sleep paralysis. Terrified me. Where your conscience is awake, but you can't wake your body up. I've had that. But that's all I can say about it. I don't know. Did you move Trump's picture to a lower shelf so Ben could see it without having to get up on his horse? Ben can't see it. His eyebrows are too big. If Ben saw it, he'd be looking at it like this. Everything Ben sees is like this. His whole podcast is like this. I don't know how he walked. I don't know how he drives. Somebody check on Joe tonight's a cap and gown. Joe would have never made it through tonight's episode. I keep thinking of your poor children having to hear about their conception while trying to get some Halloween candy. Yeah, that happened. Luckily, a few of them were too young to know what was going on. I have to ask the older ones if they remember. They'd have been like 8 and 6 or something at the time. I'd have to ask them if they knew what was happening. They may not know. It's adult stuff. It would be a wonderful idea to add an interim pick of Charlie in place of Trump. This fits beautifully with our journey together and would serve as an ideal example of the kind of Christian non-Zionist leader we will support one day, Lord willing. Oh, I don't know about that. I keep hearing the Charlie Kirk show tell me he was this massive Zionist. The prime minister of Israel tells me what a Zionist is. But who am I to disagree with these people? What am I supposed to take Charlie's word for it? I'm supposed to read clips or review clips of Charlie saying stuff? Why? When they're just going to tell me what he really believed. Yeah, I know he said all this stuff for the last 2 years and he seemed pretty consistent, but trust me, you don't know him. We knew him. That's the message I'm getting out of TPUSA. Thank you for that generosity, by the way. Love to know if you've ever seen Mike King, History on Grumble. Recognize some of your opening topics from your vids of his. FYI, anti-Fed Reserve tycoons who perished on Titanic, JPM skipping the timely voyage. I never covered that part of the Titanic, and I've never heard of that guy, but I'll check him out. What's his name? Mike King? I'll be happy to weigh in on Grumble and see what that's all about. Hoodie is Bone Collector White. Because you're finding all the skeletons in the closet. Oh. Thought you were calling me a serial killer. As the mom of 3 adult sons, I'm totally against this war and agree with your addition to the JWT Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Did you see Tucker in Qatar? Tucker said Qatar and Saudi caught Mossad agents planting bombs to kill locals. I did not see that. That's Britt the wound nurse. No, I did not see that, as a matter of fact. But if Tucker said, I'll probably see it. I'm assuming it's going around. Ryan Mattis said that Iran negotiated a good deal to allow U.S. to come in and see there are no nuclear weapons, and DJT denied it and went in anyway. What's up with that? No news media telling us. Great opening. Thanks for the compliment on the opening. Again, I've not seen that Ryan Mattis clip. I'd have to look at it and evaluate it myself before I could weigh in on it. And I'd have to know on what basis is he concluding that this happened. Who's the man in the aviator headphones? Those are my backups. Those are my backup headphones. If you've seen a member show or been on with me when I'm doing research, you've seen those because that's what I wear during the day. Baron, it is sad to say, but we now know why Charlie's no longer with us, and BB has everything to do with his death. And Saturday proved it. This Revelation war, people owe Candace an apology for it. I agree that they owe her an apology for many things. What happened to Trump's art of the deal? He was negotiator even in the beginning of his term. What happened to him? Is this the real him, or do they have something on him? Well, that was my speculation. They either are. My speculation in that clip I played of me watching me at the beginning, my speculation was that they've gotten to Trump somehow, either said, we'll take you out, or we're just going to make you so rich and famous that don't worry about doing what you want. I mean, don't worry about your followers. You don't need them. I've got one vote. Tucker did interview Catherine Austin Fitz on X yesterday. It was 2 or 3 days ago, but I did see it. She explains the financial aspect of why this attack happened. I saw that. Has to do with controlling worldwide digital. Fitz is the GOAT on money. I take what she says with a great deal of weight. No doubt about it. Good evening, Sir Baron. Well, good evening, Madam Anna. Please run for president. Absolutely not. You got to have like $100 million run for president. Your country and the world needs a man like you. I promise you, every single member of the grand jury will back me in this plea. Think about it. There's not enough of us. There's not enough of us. Happy birthday. And no, you're not 67. It's not my birthday. Or are you talking to someone else? I'm not 67, but it's not my birthday. My birthday's in December. Great opening statement on the day I completed Normal Finkelstein's Gaza, an inquest into its martyrdom. I agree wholeheartedly with your thoughts. Time for Americans to wake up. Christ is King. Thank you. And thank you. I agree with your comment. P.S. Would love to know if you think CK had distributed a kill switch. Haven't been able to get the idea out of my head since CO mentioned she had one. I don't think so. I think we would have seen it by now, right? New rosary hanging on the wall. Yes, since yesterday. I actually pulled it off on last night's show and showed it when somebody asked about it. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. A listener made it. But that's not the left elite influencing him to go to war in the Middle East. That's neocons. Well, yeah, obviously I miscalculated on that portion of it. It's the uniparty. I was still naively assuming Republicans and Democrats, there was some minor difference. I'm now wised up to that. I will admit when I make a mistake. Thank you for pointing it out. I've made a mistake. Have I ever explained the story behind curing my anxiety? If not, would you share with us? Crisis King. Crisis King, indeed. Yeah, I have a couple of times. I'll do it one more time real quickly. I'll do the quick version. You know, when you go to Mass, if you're not Catholic, you don't know, but you go to Mass and there's an opportunity to pray. They try to keep it quiet in the nave where the people sit. And I'm sitting there on the front couple of pews because that's where I like to sit in the early morning Mass, 7 a.m. I'm there by myself. Family's still at home asleep. I pull the kneeler down. I start praying, and all of a sudden I'm lost. Like I'm in a different universe. I don't know what happened. It was a very mystical experience. And let me tell you, when I say I'm not a mystical person, I've never really bought into the mysticism people have. I mean, I've not bought into it. I've never accepted that something like that would happen to me. But I get kind of caught up in this moment, and it's like I'm in a different world. And I come face to face, and it's not like an audible voice, but I come face to face with this reality. We'll say that. It's not a face, it's not a being, it's not a voice, but it's this sense I get. It's just overwhelming sense that nothing means anything. Meaning, like in 1,000 years, no one on earth is going to know my name. Nothing I own now will still exist. It'll either be dust, washed away, thrown away in a landfill. Nothing in this house will exist. This house likely won't exist. My car won't exist. Everyone I know will be dead and gone and forgotten. I might be a footnote in somebody's genealogy where my name is recorded on a line and the date I was born and dead, but even then, likely not. Certainly 10,000 years from now, absolutely not. Certainly 100,000 or a million years from now, I mean, everything that we know is just gone. You know, when you go in to get your ashes on Ash Wednesday, say you come from dust to dust, you'll return. I mean, it's literal. You're go. There's only one way to get out of here. You got to die. And when you die, they close the casket, and immediately people start forgetting about you. And so I come face to face with this reality that this is my life, and this sense begins to overwhelm me. Wait a minute. You live in this state of worry and anxiety over every little thing. You're going to lose your job? Are you going to be able to pay your mortgage payment? Are you going to be able to pay your life insurance? What if something happens to you? Your kids, got to leave something for them, you know, like so the wife can take care of them. What if you guys end up homeless? What? Like I had this just paralyzing fear all the time. And in this moment, I realized none of it matters. Like the only thing that really matters is, do I get to experience eternity in that environment? That mystical, eternal environment where there are no cars and roads and houses and bank accounts and grocery store. Like, no, that's not where we're headed. This seasonal scarcity where you got to store up for the winter if you're, you know, or you got to make sure you got enough for retirement. You got to make sure your kid, you got enough to educate. None of it really matters. The only thing that really matters is, are you living the right life? Are you doing right by the people around you? Are you in good state of grace with your maker? And then boom, as soon as I have that feeling, I am wiped right back into the church. And it was such a weird moment because I was so lost in that moment. I was so out of it that when I get knocked back, I'm like, I look around like, did anyone hear any of that? Like, did anyone see what just happened? I'm looking around the church. Everyone's just going about their life. A few people kneeling, a couple people whispering quietly to the person next to them. I look back in the back. Priest is vested. And up comes the priest with the servers. And I was like, okay. And I didn't say anything to my wife for several days. I wanted to like sit on it and marinate on it and think, did that really happen? But I noticed immediately, like my life was immeasurably improved. Immeasurably improved. And then I had the conversation with my wife a few days later, and I'm like, none of this means anything. Why do we worry about anything? Let's stop. And we've had, as a family, a few things that have popped up in the last, I don't know, 6 months or so since that happened, or maybe a year since that's happened. We've had a few things that in the past would have caused a little bit of anxiety and worry. And we didn't have it. It was just like, life goes on. We're here to protect our souls and love on people. And so that's it. That's it. Your last 3 words there, that's what did it. Christ is king. The full realization I had in that moment that Christ is king. Indeed. And that's the only thing that matters. As of today, no more Go Max on this podcast. Go Ham has to be 2.0 Go Max. I want stickers in the merch store, please. We're working on that. We've got the merch store up and running. We're testing it to make sure everything goes off without a hitch. Once the tests are done, we're going to roll it out. But I got to make sure there's no hiccups on the order, production, delivery, quality. Once that's done, so first key's turned. We're waiting to turn that second key when we get the testing done. But it'll be very soon in the next couple of days. Same thing to you. Same thing to you. Yeah, you'll get them before winter. Variation. Hey, DJT, remember that almost in Butler? It was sad about your ex-wife too. Accidents happen. Be ashamed if anyone else got hurt. Yeah. That's a variation on that same theme. That's a variation on the same thing. Yeah, Larry Ginta has a son that is her stepbrother. That's correct. But I don't think he gave birth. FYI, MLK Jr. was killed with 30-06 that went into his jaw, neck, lodged in his shoulder. It didn't exit. Also, I can't find EK commencement for doctorate. I can't find EK commencement for any degree. About MLK, have you read the autopsy report on that? Is available, and there are drawings of MLK's wound. Have you seen it? He was obliterated. Like it just like took half his neck off. But I don't want to hear all that. That it's similar. It's totally different. MLK got shot at an angle and it hit like 5 bones, big bones, shoulder bone, face, and it just blew all that off. Totally different. Trump's 2024 election plank number 14, maintain dollar dominance, is diametrically opposed to anti-war position. Triffin's dilemma says so. I believe you. If EK was born to Tanya and LF and KF are actually her grandparents, would make a little more sense why Kent left EK's name out of the forward of the book he published. I didn't know he did that. I'll have to check that out. That's news to me. That's news to me. But Bavarian was November 21st, 1988, a holiday. God bless your family. Christ is King. I don't think so, because Thanksgiving would have been around that time, so there wouldn't have been a holiday right before Thanksgiving. And November 20th. Oh, I see what you're saying. That was Monday a holiday. No, because there's no holiday in the Monday of the week of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving would have been that next Thursday. So, no, there wouldn't have been a holiday there. I don't know. Baron, I'm always late. Just stopping by to say hi. I love your show. This is my only membership on YouTube. My first super chat. If I can figure it out, I'll be about 20 minutes behind everyone else. Well, that's when you use the 1.25 button and get caught up. I sound great in 1.25. Real Baron Coleman. When Candace said there are some words that I want to echo like a battle cry, and then played Charlie's words regarding Iran, pure writing gold. You, Candace, Ian, all forces. Keep it up. Go Max. Thank you for dropping me in that company. That's high praise. Donald Trump changed after Butler. They showed him what they could do if he didn't go along. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a take. I'm not opposed to that take. Lori Abbas Frantzve was born in South Dakota in 1963. She wouldn't have been born Frantzve. She wouldn't have been born Frantzve. Just when I thought I couldn't adore you more, I could tell your heart was heavy last night and you weren't yourself. No worries, you're human. But never forget, we're with you and love you, sir. Thank you for all you do. I was out of sorts last night. I thought I could pull it off and no one would notice. But I was very bothered by it. I had just seen, in the hour or so before I went live, I had just seen the images of that school. And it just, and then you walk out of your office and you see my little 7-year-old girl bounding around the house, smiling, laughing, Daddy, look what I made. And I just thought, there's some daddy out there that wishes he could see what those girls made. And it just tore my heart up. And I hate it. I hate it. I think we're up to 6 U.S. military members lost already, dozens or hundreds perhaps of civilians. around the Middle East, not to mention the military people and office holders and everything else. I mean, it's heavy. It's heavy. Thank you for saying that. What if birth certificate faked? EK actually older explains B-ball skills plus her older look now. Plus her older look now? Are you calling her old looking? That's pretty wild. Anya Wick, Epps' niece, said fake birth certificate is common. Yeah, but we have to wrestle with the fact that there was a birth announcement in that newspaper about that same time. And that would lend credence to the fact that at least she was born, even if immediately adopted, at least she was born at that time. Plus, the Ohio birth certificate records are online. And so if they faked it in their system because you can pull the records on their system. Replace pick with Jesus laughing. Artist Ralph Kozak, 1977. Hubby thinks he resembles Bob Marley. Anyone gives you flack, say that's Bob. I'll be the judge of that. Jesus laughing. What'd you say, 1977? Okay, yeah, it does kind of look like Bob Marley. Yeah, but then I run the risk of people thinking I have Bob Marley up there with all those people. They'll think I'm a dope head. I think the elites got to Trump on Einstein as well. Perhaps. Baron, back in the day, Baron. I've been so into vintage lately, like fine wine. I'm only here to watch Baron being Baron. Keep that passion, please. I'm doing my best. I am doing my best. Great hoodie color. Can DJT come back from this? With this in the files, it feels like one backstab after another. I was so hyped up 11/24, but no longer. I was hyped up too. Actually, my election night coverage is still online. I didn't make that private. And you can see my face after he wins. I was ecstatic. I knew it for like 2 hours before they called it. And I had a guy in the room with me who's a good friend of mine. And I kept saying, should we call it? Like it was so, no one else was even daring. I think I called, if you go back and watch that, I think I called it before any major news organization called it. And I was like, I'm only going to call it if I'm sure. And I looked at it, I was like, he can't lose. I can go ahead and call it. And I called like a long time before the rest of them did. I was ecstatic, man. I took the Donald Trump picture out and hugged it with my MAGA hat. I was ecstatic. But yeah, it's been a series of disappointments after that. Happy birthday, sober happy mama. I had no idea it was your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Knowing CK murder was government, military, and their son is now taking the fall for it. The Robinsons must be beside themselves, not able to help their son. He was duped by the government, as we all have been. God help us all. I am so over this idea that the Robinsons turned their son in, and if he was innocent, they'd be shouting it from the rooftops. I think if he's innocent, they wouldn't say a word to anyone under any circumstances. Because if he's innocent, then they realize how big of an operation this is. And the number one way they can ensure their son might stay alive, is to keep your mouth shut. And we know from Billy and Brandy's reporting that they talked to family members who were like, no, the family doesn't think he did it. Reps love war. Yes, that's correct. Bush started two. Bush started more than that. I look like Donalog. Who's Donalog? It wasn't that old. It was November of 24. Ooh, this is a good question. If you're on a sports scholarship, aren't you required to play? So her scholarship would be yes also. Now, to be fair to her, she did say she was on a sports and academic scholarship. So I don't know if that changed anything. I believe your estimation of Trump in 2024 was spot on. That makes me wonder, do you think Butler was staged? I don't know. Maybe check to see if Pastor and his wife had a baby while she was with them. That's a good question. That's a great idea. 6 to 8 months hidden away, pregnancy, plastic surgery recovery, being MK Ultra. All of the above are possibilities. Yeah. I'm not saying she was pregnant. I'm just saying that the timeline fits and it explains a lot in my mind. Miss America contestants cannot have children, be pregnant. They must certify they do not have children. Maybe why missing? Why she stopped playing basketball? Just a thought. Yeah. I'm with you guys. I can't put a picture of Candace up there. She's a except for Trump. These people are all dead. I can't do it. She's too modern. Doesn't fit the motif. Not that I don't have the same respect. The only reason to lie is to manipulate the person to whom you're lying. Mom has phony businesses, Erika phony charities, and phony businesses. Don't sell her short. Your opening statements is a great practice for speeches as Secretary of State. I've got one vote for Secretary of State. That's the role I really want. I want to be state. More than president. Love the accidentally put my white hoodie in with the red clothes hoodie. It does kind of look like it got washed with maroon, doesn't it? But it's not. It came this way. It's never been, never been washed with red, I can assure you. I would absolutely, I would actually like to know if she did anything with the charities. I would too. I want to know how she claims to have done all that stuff and never raised more than $50,000. I would love to know that. Was only half listening to Candace today. Please remind me, what did Candace say about the Bush family? Did she say Lori worked for them? I missed it. Today, I don't think so. If she did, that got past me. I mean, she did kind of suggest a few episodes ago that Barbara Bush might be Aleister Crowley's daughter. I thought that was pretty wild. Rubio's out there being a Joe. Let's not go that hard on Rubio. I'm just kidding. In the words of Coach, we've been hoodwinked again. Definitely a heavy feeling lately. So glad you're pushing forward. I shall push. I look 10 years younger now. Well, thank you. I don't know why. I'm 1 year older. Can we deep dive Tyler Bowyer? Oh, brother, we're way ahead of you. The deep dive has commenced on this end. It just hasn't made it to your end quite yet. But yes, we have snorkels. We have respirators. We have fins. Oxygen tanks. We've got it all. So we can see the charities never took in more than 50,000, but can we see their spending on any other involved? No, they don't have to file anything. That's the point. I'm from Winslow, and are you standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona? When CO and EK visited the hospital in Winslow in 2006 for her charity, I'd never heard of it. I looked up the charity. It was not established until 2017. Winslow's a small community. This doesn't make sense. I think her charity was formed until 2007, not 2017. It was 2007. I was married to a diagnosed narcissist. He lied about anything to make himself look great and had to have all the attention. I have his journals. He lied so much in them. There's a true disconnect with narcissist. What's the point of lying to a journal? Like, I understand lying to a person. Hey, did you steal the dollars? No, I didn't steal the dollars. Okay, you lied, but you don't want them to know you stole the dollars. Lying in your journal? That's true psychopathic behavior right there. Thank you, Cassandra. Sorry you went through that. Annie, thank you. Just bought a membership, had to set up stuff to start using YouTube again, but you and your show were worth it. Keep asking and keep digging. Use the funds for something nice for the fam. I will. I absolutely will do that. I will have 2 kids in college this time in the fall. It'll be put to good use. Thank you. Erika's pageant winnings remind me of the moon landing. Fake and scripted. You see, they pushed off the Artemis mission, right? They'd rolled it out there. Oh, we're about to send people around the moon. They're going to be on the dark side of the moon. And then they get out there and they're like, but we're going to call it off. We'll do it next year. Yeah. Could she have been pregnant those 8 months? Yeah. Could have been. I'm going to see a doctor tomorrow, as every time I see Erika, I hear a Fleetwood Mac song in both ears. Tell me. Oh, tell me lie. Tell me sweet little lie. I love Fleetwood Mac. Glad to see you more like your majestic, bouncy, barren self tonight. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. This is a very intimate setting, right? You get to see me. You get to hear me. I can't hide from you. And it's not like I get little breaks every 6 or 8 minutes where I can go hype myself up like on radio. I've just got to stick it out 2, 3, 4 hours. And if I'm off, you're going to sense it. You're going to sense it. And I hate that, but in a way, it makes it even more intimate, right? Because then you know the real me. You get to know the real me every night. Just in, Barron to write Erika's autobiography. I will write her unauthorized biography. Don't tempt me. I like to write. I write a lot. I could just write a page or 2 a day, and this time next year, I'd have a whole Erika biography. Listening and cleaning my fish tank, playing with mostly rummy nose and one random tetra. I know what a tetra is. I've never heard of a rummy nose. If I ever get to feed them one day, the rando tries to eat the others. Named her Erika. That's crazy. I'll suggest it's her kid for you. Thank you for doing the dirty work, Lisa. I knew somebody would come through. I knew someone would come through. Remember, Erika said she hid during her pregnancy so she could eat her In-N-Out burgers. Christ is king. Yeah, she's weird about the In-N-Out burgers. I just wanted to eat my In-N-Out burgers. You think I'm going to be on an Egyptian plane when I could be with my In-N-Out burger? You fly on a Gulfstream 5 every day. Like, you fly so much that if I was the Treasury Director or the Commissioner of the IRS, I would be asking to see why. So, yeah, I'm not concerned about your In-N-Out habit. Whoa. Sorry for my lateness. My mother turned up unannounced. I've applied for a restraining order, so this doesn't happen in the future. I think if she's going to show up during the program, that's wholly appropriate. Tell her to put her notifications on so she doesn't let it happen again. It's not the Dems that made Trump turn. It's Philadelphia and the millions Adelson's widow has given him. Keep it real. Love your show. Yeah, guys, you can't hold it against me for what I said in 2024. Right? I've learned a lot since then. Baron, I don't know much about pageants, but as Miss Arizona, wouldn't she be required to represent her state in the next logical, bigger competition of Miss USA? Did she just give up her crown? No, she actually did go to that pageant, the Miss USA pageant, the Miss America USA or whatever it's called. I'm not sure what it's called, but she did go. She didn't win, obviously. She did not win. Hey, Johnny, 2 times. Hey, Veronica, 1 time. I voted for Trump 3 times. I rallied for cash. It's clear why I'm single at 50. I can't pick him. Member forever. Love y'all. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. I voted for Trump 6 times. 3 primary votes and 3 general election votes. Think how foolish I feel. My wife, I shouldn't tell you how she voted. She's only voted for him 5 times. But I'm a 6-time Trump voter. Erika was paid to date CK is rumoring around the internet. I'd like to see that rumor and see if there's any basis for it or if people just say it's. I don't think it's right to just pass rumors. I mean, if you pull something up and say, this is my conclusion from what I'm looking at here, that's different. Don't put that evil on me, Baron. Not FBI, just a fan and Catholic mama who loves puns. Oh. Name based off Parks and Rec, Burt Macklin, FBI. Oh, okay. And I liked Parks and Rec. I'm sorry that got past me. I was a little scared we'd been infiltrated. I wish the FBI would watch, actually. They might be able to help out with our investigation. They might learn a thing or 2. Yep. Erika claims not to remember how she met Tyler Bowyer. Well, that makes sense if he was a family friend, right? She might not know how she met him. She's just known him forever. John 8:7, everyone has a past. As a Christian, we are charged to love people like Jesus did. He didn't make fun of people. He laid down his life even for her. I know she's lied, but we should pray for her. We should pray for her. But also, if she's going to continue to lie and be a liar, an unrepentant liar, then she should step down from her position and she should get help. So I think drawing attention to the fact is not doing her a disservice at all. But I appreciate your weighing in. Service member here for your opening statement. Tangentially, Penelope Hegseth's words to her son regarding his character has been rolling in my head. MT, I don't know what those words were. I adopted a baby in Ohio and was issued a birth certificate that shows me and hubby as her mom and dad. But she was adopted. Is there a way to find out? I would ask you, did you adopt at birth? Like the day the baby was born or the day or two later? And if the answer is that's yes, how long does the birth registry, how long between the birth date that you're aware of and the birth registry entry is there? Because there's like 15 or 16 days with Erika. And it's a little unusual. A lot of the other records aren't that way. The big kid from the rally shows up in alibi photo. No, that kid would be a teenager by now. That would be a teenager. If I'm blocked in the chat, not sure why. Can you see my super chat? I can see it. Yeah. Are you blocked? The latex spouse is blocked. You've been a good commenter over the months, I guess. I don't think you've been around for years. I forgot my husband's birthday 2 times in the last 7 years. Not everyone has a great memory for stuff like that. It's not malicious. I'm so forgetful. Now, you mean you forgot it on the day it happened. You don't mean you forgot what day it is. Like if I asked you right now, you would know what day it is, right? That's how you know you forgot it, because you're aware of it. Now, do you have kids? What about your kids? Did you forget their birthdays? Do you know their birthdays off the top of your head? That's not being forgetful. It's forgetful if you just get in the routine of life and you wake up and it's 10 o'clock, you're like, it's birthday. That's forgetful. It's weird if someone in June says, what's your wife's birthday? And you can't go October 7th. That's weird. Or your kid's birthday. Or your anniversary. You should be able to say April 11th, May 3rd, June 21st. You should be able to just bang those dates out. Yeah, Kent's birthday is different on 2 separate docs as well. It's a year off. One's 1948, one's 49. I did notice that. Do any of her relatives have a 7-year-old daughter? That's a great question. And I don't know the answer. And that video of Erika being crowned, the announcer says, happy birthday, Erika, and the competition was on November 20th. Well, that's the date she proposes is her birthday. That's the date the birth records in Ohio say she was born. Yeah, so weird. Agreed. Is Junior on your research list? Salem is soft launching exploratory polling on him, stating Prob, Vance, or Rubio, but CEO Summit and Mike Gallagher talking about it. He was super close to CK. I wish he would share more. I mean, he's lived a very public life. It would be very difficult for me to believe. I mean, it's possible, but it'd be very difficult for me to believe there's some way I could dig up something on him sitting in my desk or making a few phone calls that people don't already know. I mean, he's lived such a public life. Remember the photo they sent to Gary? There was a boy older than CK kids, and she put her finger on his face. Maybe that was the kid in the old photo. The problem is, if she got pregnant in 2008, let's just entertain this for a second. That kid is now 18 years old. It's not going to look like a 4-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 5-year-old. It's going to look like an 18-year-old. He's going to have a mustache. Drive a car. Probably slipped a few Miller Lights at a high school party. Baron, thanks for all you do. Thanks for the amazing mods in chat. Please hit that like button. Oh, are we good on likes right now? You guys remind me to chastise. We're doing better. We could do better. We're almost halfway there. We could do better. But thank you for the half of you who bothered. Israel trip goals: find husband, attend embassy dedication, stalk Charlie in ticket line after he mentioned he will go for the event. Did he say publicly he was going? I'm telling you, I believe that's why she was there. She was there to find a husband, and it was Charlie. You're not going to convince me otherwise right now. Not unless you give me really new information. So was it a pilgrimage or was it a great husband hunt? Depends on who she's talking to. That's Erika. Depends on who she's talking to. And the answer is we don't know off the top of our heads. First super chat, EK told Weiss that when EK was pregnant, EK didn't see anybody. EK was growing a human inside of her. EK may have actually been telling the truth. Well, you just brought something up that I hadn't considered. That makes it even more likely, or at least it adds credibility to the idea that the 2008 locking yourself up for 8 months and reading the Bible could have been her growing a baby, because she doesn't like to be seen when she's pregnant. Muy interesting. I don't speak Spanish, so if I said that wrong, if it's supposed to be mucho, I'm sorry. I don't know which it is. I'm not trying to insult our Spanish-speaking brethren here. Hermanos. Thank you, Baron, for being articulate and clearly laying out information. My brain has been swimming, but you make it make sense. I like to talk the way I learn. I like to see stuff. I like to hear the fact, and then I like to hear someone's opinion. And then I like them to put something up, give me the fact, give me their opinion. Put something up, give me the fact, give me the opinion. That's how I like to learn, and that's how I like to teach or talk. I'll say teach. I find it hard to believe she's a college graduate or having a master's or doctorate based on how she speaks, but public speaking is her Achilles heel. I want someone to send me the spring commencement for Arizona State University 2012. She should be in there. It's not on their website. You can go all the way back to the fall commencement of 2012, but not the spring. I want someone to send me the spring commencement of 2012. I'm going to have a piece of candy. Can I illustrate your biography of the life and times of Erika Frantzve Kirk? We can add a pictorial analogy of Are You My Mother? That'd be a good one for AdFleet. Her episode 9 today on the headquarters was bonkers. Mikey with the earrings and the pink midriff and the glitter is, you're going to get me every time, AdFleet. You will get me every single time that you play that character. Grandpa's pulling up the Flickr photos, kids. Sorry, guys. I used Flickr back in the day, if you believe it. As soon as I said that, someone's going to go find my old Flickr account. I don't even know what's in it. When she was pregnant with that 7-year-old girl, EK had her at the Trump rally. When talking about pregnancies, EK refers to that time. That is why EK has a sonogram, but with EF and no date. She may have had a C-section for that baby, not CK's. Look, I think there's an interesting set of parallels beginning to develop around that time, to be honest with you. I think it's highly likely. I think it's probable, in my opinion. I can't think of any other reason you would tell people you disappeared for 8 months and the only person who saw you was your pastor's wife. And that's when you really found religion. That's when you read the Bible multiple times, unless you're talking to Sage Steele later and then you never read it, but whatever. And then we learned later when you had kids with Charlie, you also did not want to be photographed or seen by anybody when you were pregnant. They seem to analogize, don't they? They seem to mirror each other, those two experiences. Thanks for reminding me to check unclaimed property. Here's a little finder's fee. Also, Ben Shapiro. Oh, did you have some unclaimed property? Everyone should check it. There's no reason to let the state keep your money. They're in there making interest on your money. You might as well have it in your pocket. Never Stop Going, Max. Love the energy today, Baron. Watched every live since November. So happy I found you. And that you have committed to full time. Keep absolutely killing it. Signed, proud member of the jury. Well, thank you. Thank you. And your membership, I hope you're enjoying that as well. We have some fun on the member shows. I may have a member show tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. It'll either be tomorrow or Friday this week. But I think it may be tomorrow. Baron, you know Charlie was brilliant and very smart, but he must have been very naive and sly when it comes to women. I feel sorry he got set up. I do believe he was naive with women. I think there's evidence of that out there. There's not a long history of him dating women. And I think he would have been ripe to be set up. And I think those around him that realized, wait a minute, we want to ride this guy's coattails all the way out. They would need a woman. They would need him to have a woman. Especially as many alternative lifestyle people he hired around him. They wouldn't want it to look like Charlie was in that camp with him if they're going to run for president or whatever. But he would have been ripe for it. I'm not saying that Erika was, but he would have been ripe for such an op. She was on a pilgrimage for her next victim. They kept positioning her near him. I think they may have been introducing him, and he was just too naive to pick up on it. I think that's probably more likely. Why else is she coming from New York to the Arizona opening of the TPUSA headquarters? Let me introduce you to the CEO. Come on. Nonsense. She went to Philadelphia for some mints. Go Max, Baron. That could be. Could be. Lindsay Halligan was on Erika's team at Regis. I learned that today. I did not know that. Cut Erika some slack. She couldn't find a babysitter the night of that Trump rally. Jeez. She went to Israel to meet Bibi's son, Yair. That was her mark. Then there's a picture of them together. She must not have impressed him. Is he the one that lives in Miami? Is that why she flies to Miami all the time? Allegedly. Sitting here with pneumonia and wheezing, laughing so hard over your comments about Erika's going to Israel to find a husband. I'll take things no one has ever said for $1,000, Alex. Yes, that's correct. No one has ever said those words. Those words have never come out of anyone's mouth. Ever. Baron Levy Show, did you see the videos of EK Pageants interviews? I think Missy Social had it. They were the strangest answers. One question about legalized drugs and something else, but definitely off. I did see some of those. There were several pretty controversial topics, and she took the far left position on every one of them. She didn't really take a conservative topic on any of them. He had to blanket Charlie as a job interview and had to blanket Mikey McCoy as Shakira. Blessings abound. Keep up the good work, baby. Coleman Yahoo. No. I've never been responsible for the death of another human being that I'm aware of. I don't think I have. My man. That's the same verbiage Michelle Obama used when talking about Barack. She does say that a lot. Have I looked up EK on IMDb? Interesting to see a video trailer of a movie about an attack on power grids. Yeah, I have. Also, her birthday showing is 11/20/88. Yep. That's the official date she gives. Hi, Baron. I've been listening for a while. Love your take on things. Please say hi to my husband, Jason. Howdy, Jason. I've been asking him to watch your lives with me. We're watching together. God bless you and your family. Jason, I hope I haven't disappointed you. Thanks for the generous donation, Jason. You don't have to donate every time, Jason. just be happy. Happy to have you. EK met Bibi's son, Yair, in a pic posted June 2019 with Tyler B. She said she went over in May of that year. She said she went over in May of 2018, not 2019. Lindsay was a semifinal Miss Colorado USA. Yeah, but she was also at Regis at the same time. She was both. What year did Tyler say he moved TPUSA because of Erika? 2018. This reminds me of the song Lies, Thompson Twins. Lies, lies, lies. Yeah, they're going to get you. I'm familiar with who the Thompson twins are, but I don't know that I know that song. Are you telling us you didn't meet Mrs. Coleman on a pilgrimage? Not to Jerusalem. I met her on a pilgrimage to my front porch. She was in the apartment down the hall. I was captivated. Very captivated. Smash the like button. Pray for peace for our soldiers, everyone. Yes, please. Do both of those things. Well done. Super strong, open, and closed. Cheers. Thank you. Baron, I think that lying, like drinking, can become a compulsive addiction that you lose the ability to control. You choose until you no longer can choose. A few weeks ago, you showed an interview with AK, and he said his phone died the day after the Big Bang. EK said her phone died too in an interview with Jesse Waters. Coincidence. I'll have to go look back at that because I don't recall hearing her say that. Clip that. I don't recall hearing her say that. But yeah, that would be totally weird if both of their phones just happened to die. Baron, can you please go over AZ Foothills Charity on the other owners? The guy who owns the mag and has the shady history is from the same area as CK. Yeah, I'll look into that after the show. I thought I pulled up the wrong link and then I'd moved on, and Daisy chastised me and said, no, it was the right link. And I'll follow back up on it. Could EK live in fear of her mom? She was surrounded by many bad actors growing up, not taking up for her, but she was groomed to be who she is. I wouldn't think so, but maybe, not ruling it out. Didn't want him to end up like Lindsey Graham has to be the line of the night. I didn't realize that was a good line when I said it, but now that you say it, now that you mention it, you're right. That's a good point. That guy's terrible, by the way. Oh my gosh, he's the worst. Lori's mom, Erica's grandma, is buried in a cemetery near me. Really? Interesting. Great show as always, Baron, and thank you so much for all the work you do putting the show together. Regarding Erica's leave of absence, I think we should consider drug addiction more likely than pregnancy, considering her age, personality. Maybe, but I've never gotten the impression she did drugs. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The kid from the rally finally explains the kids on her phone, the one she covered the face. Again, no, they don't, because if that kid's 7 back in 2015, it's 2016, guys. That kid's going to be 18 years old now. Now, I guess she could have gone back and gotten a really old photo. Maybe. But then she'd have pictures of her own kids. Why not just use those? First super chat, but Baron, thank you. I think that she read the Bible so many times to fully complete her assignment. Love you, B, and your work. Thank you. And welcome to the club there, friend. Several news sources have corrected school attack, not U.S. fire. Also, I refuse to accept that this nutbag is related to my beloved Packer legend. No. Well, I'm not saying I don't know whose rocket fell on what location, but the reality is there are little kids that are dead that would otherwise be alive. That's more my problem. I'm not saying it was a U.S. missile or is it an Israeli missile or is it an Iranian missile or is it some other country. I don't know. But I know that they wouldn't have died. There wouldn't have been this fog of war, and a target like that wouldn't have been hit. I do know that. Edge, and for that, I'm still just disgusted by the whole thing. But I didn't know that yesterday. LF, there is a Lombardi, but not the same as Vince. I'm just taking Charlie's word for it. I can't imagine Charlie just made that up. It leads me to believe Erika might have told him that, but maybe. I don't know. I bet Tyler and Erika met at ASU. They were both there 2010 to 11. Love the show. Christ is King. Yeah. I mean, that's reasonable to assume, but why not just say that? Why hide that? If that's true, why hide that? My dad met Aquino at his Jaguar dealership over 20 years ago, said he was driving a Ferrari and had a pentagram, but I can't find your opening on him. Well, that wasn't in my opening. I don't remember what opening that was. It was a while back. I vote Michael Grant. Terry plays Baron when movies come out. Love the show. All right. A lot of these have insulted me in the past, but I will look this one up. Well, he at least he's not an old. You guys have been naming these people in their like 60s, and it's a little insulting, frankly. You give Coach this idea that I'm old. This guy at least is young. I will say this: he's dashingly handsome, and so I'm not offended by it. But I am afraid people would watch the movie and assume I look like that. And he was on Bones. Here's the thing, too. My wife, my oldest daughter, they loved Bones. I actually like Bones. I watched a few episodes. Yo, B, that broom flyer, a straight up H.O. Oh, you're calling her a witch and a lady of the night. Sup, mods? Y'all rock. Fleet, the last video, OMG Fire, God is great. If the last video is the one with Mikey and the pink crop top, yes, I agree with you. More of that, please. The only thing missing was Wine Mom. I don't think she was in that one. Someone recently has the perspective that Einstein was not even Einstein, the human being. He was a construct. I would argue that Miss Erika Kirk is also a construct. And so I had a friend of mine who's actually pretty smart email me the other night. He's like, have we entertained the idea that Epstein wasn't real? And then we kind of started talking about something else, and I forgot to follow up. I need to follow up with him and ask what he was talking about. CK's lack of discernment is unnerving. How did he not know about the pasts of EKTB, his inner circle? Surely he was not that naive. Who was the real Charlie? What an absolute cluster. Great job, sir. I think this gets back to the wolves and finance theory, right? That Charlie wasn't as naive as we all think. That they didn't necessarily pull a fast one on him. Johnny, 2 times, I'd rather be putty on an airplane. Are you going to just sit there? Talking about from Seinfeld? Just going to sit there. Baron, I had 3 fox body stings. I share the same love for them you do. I think EK had her child so she could win the Miss AZ USA. Oh, hit her child. Yeah, so this is consistent with the idea that had they known she had a child, she would have been ineligible to continue competing. I'm assuming that's true. I don't know. But yeah, that would be consistent with that. Fox body stings are legit. After the show, I went and looked up some 93 Cobras with low mileage, and they're 6 figures, so I'll never own one. But they're beautiful. EK, I used my notes app to prove her fake husband prophecy is just like the recently exposed fake charismatic prophet Chris Reed caught faking prophecies using his notes app. TPUSA works with many of the worst Christian fakers, grifters. I'm not familiar with that scandal, but yeah, you showing me something in an app and saying, oh, here, I promise you, I wrote this down back then. Oogie doogie. Oogie doogie, old lady. I think you misunderstood Zach Wolves and Finance on Palm Gun. He didn't say that is what hit CK. He's saying that is what shot into the neck, the black SUV. Please buy your puppy some treats. Love your show. If that's the case, yeah, I really missed it because what I thought he was saying was the rifle shot into the SUV and the palm gun hit Charlie. Because he even said it's a perfect angle for his neck. I don't want to say you misunderstood because I don't know for a fact I'm right. But I think I am. But I'll buy the dog some snacks. I normally don't read the Bible, but the chosen ones forgot to mention that God removed the land from them. Second Covenant, Hebrews 8:7. Everyone needs to read it. All right. Duly noted. I burned my hand on some tea today. You see how red it is around this area over here? It hurts like the dickens. It's all swollen and red. It was totally my fault. I was pouring some boiling hot tea into a cup, and the little teapot, short and stout. The spout was like this perfect linear fluid, and I kept pulling it back further and further, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, look!" And then I realized it was getting full, so I tried to cut it off real quick, and just splashed all that boiling water on my hand. It hurt. It was boiling tea. It had already steeped. Being the congenital liar she is, she saw the Lombardi similarity and ran with it to try to impress athletes and famous people like Charlie. Probably zero relation. That, I think you're probably right. I'm sure she sold that to football and baseball and basketball players. That's a good one. Good call. Love the show, Baron. Keep going, Max. Looking to become a Catholic. Please pray for me in my journey. You're the number one podcast in my book. Jesus loves you, me, and our high IQ outfit. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. You're right. Jesus loves us all. And I'll pray for you on your journey. Absolutely. Thank you. Charlie Kirk to fill the DJT spot. B, I was skeptical at first, worried we'd been taken for a ride. Been a loyal listener and supporter. Was using my Catholic discernment, but you passed the test. That was close. That was a close one. Do I think the earshot was a warning or threat to cooperate? I'm going to pass on that. I hate to not answer, but I'm going to pass. The answer is I don't know. Max Blumenthal was on Jimmy's show today. He said any staff in White House that retweets CK opposing the war is deemed a security threat and removed. I mean, to be fair to the White House, they would be at that point. Look, when you go to work for the White House, you give up your right to speak your own personal political opinion. You speak on behalf of the administration. I don't care if you sweep the floor. Baron, can you explain in legal terms why the Ellison family owning most of the media has impacted news coverage, please? I don't think you need legal terms. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. You don't need, I don't need to speak in legal terms. It's common sense. If your humble host owned most of the media, it would reflect my beliefs. Trust me, the war coverage would be much different. Ian Carroll would be in charge of CBS News, not Barry Weiss. That's the difference. The light catcher I made you should arrive tonight. Didn't feel welcome yesterday, so to hit the like button today. Had it on the way yesterday, though. Thank you very much for thinking of me that way. Thank you. I genuinely appreciate that. What if Carla Frantzve got pregnant out of wedlock by Henry Vincent Lombardi Jr. and Kent and Lori adopted the baby? That's pretty wild. I mean, that would be a direct descendant, wouldn't it? Is there a Vince Lombardi Jr.? Oh, he is Vince Lombardi Jr. Now, he was born in 42, so in 87. Oh, she was born in November, so early 88. He would have been 46. Very much still in the game. That's how old I am. I'm very much still in the game. No, I'm sorry. He was born in 1913. He died in 1970. Oh, that must not be the junior. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. You're right. There's a Vince Lombardi Jr. I was wrong. This guy, I think, it's possible, I guess. I don't know what year he was born. Hell with it. We're going with it. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. Erika Kirk is Vince Lombardi's grandkid. Direct descendant. Threw his derelict child out there gallivanting around the country on his whatever it is he did for a living. Sold. I'll allow it. Do you think they killed Charlie as a threat push to President Trump to do this war? Don T has always talked against going to war using other means, especially while Charlie was alive and in his ear. Well, it would be persuasive. Donnie, baby, you saw what we did to your boy Chucky. You don't want the same ending, do you? They blame some patsy from southern Utah. Don't ask where his wife was. You don't know. You don't trust Melania, do you? She might be in on it too. At the end of the Tyler Bowyer interview, he said Charlie didn't know if he was going to like the way she looked or not. He was nervous, but then he met her. Yeah, that would certainly indicate that it wasn't a job interview. Never was intended to be one. But I'll have to go back and watch that. Thank you. Baron, I pray fleets here, holy man. Baron in the desert confronting her on the Joe-based logic for finding a husband, covered in glitter and BS, mom in tow on the back of a camel with Universal Studios head on. Oh, you pray fleets here, period. There you go. Okay, you should send Fleet your ideas. Probably be happy to incorporate some of them, perhaps. Slightly lighter here, 30 days sober, thankful and loving it. Seeing a pattern of shelter in place. The show on seaports made me think of the recent Puerto Vallarta shelter in place. Yeah, I think, remember our friend Brandy got caught up in that, from Brandy and Billy. First, congrats on 30 days. That's a big accomplishment. Second, don't go back. You know you don't want to go back. Third, thank you for that. I'll have to look into that. I didn't spend a lot of time researching the Puerto Vallarta thing. I thought it was a gang shootout with the local cartels or something over an assassination. So I'm not real clear on the connection there. But thank you and good luck, and we'll pray for you. I know you said you already picked your merch, but high IQ outfits on the front, and I have no idea what that means on the back. Would be epic, please. So we're rolling out the first round, testing it, seeing what's going on, roll it out for purchase. People either can or can't purchase it. Fine, either way. But we'll add some new designs as the weeks go on. But I didn't want to overwhelm my lovely and talented sister who is handling that. I wanted to keep it simple for the first run, just to make sure there are no kinks. So thank you. A message for Mrs. Coleman. Mrs. Coleman, are you listening? The greatest detective that has ever lived. If she's looking into his family's friends, Erika's dad's first wife was Mormon, TB is Mormon, Mormons are tight-knit. What does that have to do with Miss Coleman? Oh, you're saying Mrs. Coleman is the greatest detective that ever lived? No. Well, I'm sure she would be, but she is raising our beautiful family. Daisy does much of the detective work. She's not a Coleman. Certainly not Mrs. Coleman. We're here to protect our souls and love on people. Therapist, taking this and your story powerful. Thank you. Keep doing what you do. All of it. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. Lucille Bluth for top center. No, Lucille 1 is not going to make it up there. That is not going to happen. Going out on a limb here, but maybe someone should let our president know Israel's become a liability. Oh, that man is dead. Oh, you're saying Charlie. It has become a liability. Baron, great show as always. How would you describe similarities, differences between Catholic understanding of bilocation and astral projection? That's outside of my league. That's way out of my league. I'm not. I know so little about all of that I've already said more than I probably should have about astral projection. I gave a very fundamental baseline understanding when I kept begging Candace, I don't get it. Explain it again. And that's all that stuck. So I probably got that wrong too. So I don't want to butcher the topic anymore, but thank you. November 22, 1988 was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Yeah. It was. 2.5 years clean and sober. Anniversary was February 26th. You're inspiring. Thank you. Keep going. You're inspiring me. Recovering Jessica. Yeah, I know about the Fort Huachuca movie called November. I think it was November Rising or something. And it never came out. I'd like to see it. It would be a huge seller now if they'd release it now. Baron, been loving your member lives. Would be very interested in seeing an episode like this of EK Mother's Life. We kind of did one of those when we did the Sweet Life. If you go back and watch that episode. But I think we could probably add to that. And maybe Daisy will correct me on that. We may have done another one since then. But I'm pretty sure we covered most of her life on an episode titled The Sweet Life. I have no idea what number it was. When did Erika live at LGH for unwed mothers at Liberty University? I'm not aware she ever lived there. I do know she allegedly has a degree from there that nobody can find. Hello, Baron. Me and my mom love watching your show. Can you say hi, Valentina? We watch your show every night during dinner. You guys eat late. Hi, Valentina. Or else you're on the West Coast, maybe. How about General Patton? No, if I was going to put a general, it'd be Smedley Butler. That would be the one. He wrote a book that's so influential and been so influential on my life. War is a Racket. It's on the top 10 list. It's short. 90% of the things we worry about never happen. 9% that does, you will soon forget. Why be anxious about the 1%? This fact helped my anxiety. Also, glad my super chat about peace candidates last night inspired your opening. I approve. I do remember your chat, actually. And if it did, it subconsciously did. I'm not ruling that out. It's just I was not in the forefront of my mind, but now that you mentioned it, very well could have. It's like a musician. They hear a song 20 years ago, and then they write a song, and it sounds like it, and they're like, I didn't mean to do it. It's possible. I'm not ruling that out at all. Thank you for your comment. TR was taking in to avoid the SWAT coming to bring him in. He would have most likely been killed at that time. Dad's retired detective, so a smart move. Dad is not a retired detective. The neighbor was a retired, I don't know if he's a detective or what he was, but he was a retired sheriff's deputy. But I agree with you. I think that retired sheriff's deputy, in retrospect, may have saved his life. Because if they're going to go through all that to frame somebody, they can plant a gun on you and act like you were shooting at them. Hey, Baron. New member, first-time commenter. The first Erika Kirk school picture shows her name with a C. Is that explainable? I noticed it watching Candace earlier and was confused. I have some yearbooks on that bookshelf right there of mine. And in one of those yearbooks, my name's Chris. I've never gone by Chris in my life. No one's ever called me Chris. Not Christopher, Chris. I've never gone by Christopher either, for the record, just lest anybody be confused. But I didn't say my name was Chris. I promise I was Baron Coleman. Every other yearbook over there says Baron Coleman. But in one of them, my name is Chris. Weird things happen. That tore up little 6th grade Baron or 7th grade Baron, whatever year it was. Baron, you should keep the black frame as a symbol of disappointment he's been. That's what I'm planning on doing. We've been since Charlie's assassination. It's all tied in. Great work. Thank you. Yes, my plan was to keep it black for a while. Baron, you skipped my waiting room super chat about Chase Hughes. I didn't skip it. They tend to time out after a while before the show starts. Now, what I do is, for those of you who send a super chat and for whatever reason I go by it, typically it's because it's duplicative or I've already answered it or I'm just running out of time and have to start skipping some occasionally. But I do go back and read them all. And so your waiting room super chat will be read. Oftentimes there's one or two from an hour and a half before the show or whatever that just whatever reason it times out. But I do go back through the super chat list and read them all. It takes time. I do it. It takes an hour or so after I get off the show. I go back and I can read quickly the ones I know I read. But if I know one I didn't read, I'll stop and read it. But I also read a lot of them while I'm going past them. So everything you send in the super chat is being read and absorbed. Most of them get responded to. Have you done your special podcast yet? The big one regarding 15 years back. I've been catching up on all episodes. Rumble the week past, so wasn't sure if I missed Christ is King. I have not done that one. I will. That's a similar experience to the Butler situation, though. That was a little different in that when I ran my conclusion by a trusted colleague, he said, I'm not sure you want to go with that. I was like, what? He's like, I don't know. You're going to be safe. And so I dialed that one back just to think about it a little longer. But no, you're right. I need to do it. Whatever happens. God blessed me with being able to take my family to the Holy Lands right before the war started. All I could think was that I got to walk the land Jesus walked, Garden of Gethsemane and Via Dolorosa. The Bible came to life. That's an interesting experience. I've never had it, obviously. But I know a lot of people have had it, and it's been life-changing for them. I don't know that I'll ever make it over there. I'm not much of a traveler. I'm certainly not a overseas traveler. But I'm kind of jealous of those that have, honestly. Hi, Baron. Sent you an email. I think it's a banger. Footage of suspect walking to and from UVU has been edited. They cropped out a car with 2 to 3 people running to it before it speeds off. Footage from Access Road. Any name it came from, what time it was sent would be helpful, but we'll find it. I've got great emailing. Our email stays pretty up to date now. So we'll get there. We'll find it. How about a photo of Fulton J. Sheen? I know one listener who would really like that. He named his kid Fulton. EK birthday 11/21 to 11/22 because 11 plus 22 equals 33. Cargo fire 11/22. I doubt they thought that far ahead, but I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Hey, Baron. Great opening statement. Could you make a clip of it to share on social media? Christ is king. My son did his senior thesis on just war theory, and he needs to hear your thoughts. So what I've done is here's what I've my compromise. I originally was doing clips because I would get email requests. I still get them. People say, hey, "Will you like yours? Will you clip the opening?" And what I've done is I've checked the option now on YouTube that allows people to make clips to share on social media. So you can clip it. I'm not opposed to you clipping it. Go for it. I've stopped making clips because everybody got all bent out of shape. They would click on it to watch it, and then the comments would be full of people going, I already saw this on the live. Why are you playing it again? You're greedy. You're just trying to make money. I'm like, you make like $8 on those clips. Like, now I'm not sneezing at $8. It's $8 more than I had. But it takes more than $8 worth of time to make the clip. No one's retiring on a clip. But I got tired of reading the comments. I thought, you know what? I'll just click the button and allow other people to make the $8. So have fun. Have fun with the clips. I would ask that you not make it a huge habit or open like a whole clip channel and start retiring on it. But, clip responsibly. How about that? Clip responsibly. Wait, DJT changed lately. Some say after Butler, but not. But what if Charlie was a second threat next to his real son and aligns with main narratives sizes after? Yeah, so I've thought of that. If it's the fear, if Charlie Kirk was the fear, they took him down and then sent him a note and said, that was us. Keep your mouth shut and it won't happen to you or anyone you love. I think his daughter was threatened in this first administration. Frankly. Notice she was always around up until October of 2017, and then she was basically never seen again. Comment from yesterday, LOL. Mom of 12 going out with the kids. Oh, the looks. Are you Catholic? Do you own a TV? Yes, they are all mine. The do you own a TV thing is weird because it would indicate that's all you're doing for hours every day. Or it would indicate that television watching is better. I can assure you, folks, it is not. It is not an adequate substitute. Does Tanya have a kid? The age Erika's kid would be now if they were 8 months and indeed a pregnancy, 18 years old. Yeah, she does, actually. That's weird, now that you mention it. About that age. Yeah. Now that you mention it, maybe they traded. Lori, you take mine. I'll take Erika's. Maybe Erika took someone else's. No. Yo, switcheroo. Erika wanted a husband, but not dating. Was apparently averse to being asked on a date by CK, like expecting to win the lottery without buying a ticket. Hope this gets read even though I'm late. You're late, but I agreed with it, so I went with it. Erika's a clone of the former First Lady of Florida. Control Alt History did a video about it. I've seen that, and the name was the same. Oh, the great Mikey McCoy, the amazing, the magnificent Mikey McCoy. He's actually 18 if they're lying about birthdays. Yeah, it could be. Baron, for Super, you're the only podcast I subscribe to. Fleetwood Mac is my favorite. Well, they're one of my very favorites as well. And my kids now love them. What did I play the other day? I played some Fleetwood Mac song the other day. It was a total hit. I do Daddy DJ, where I plug my phone into the Bluetooth speakers in the living room, and we get to dancing, and I start picking songs through the different eras. We did a Beatles song. We did a Fleetwood Mac song. We did a Nirvana song. I run them through the whole gamut. Yeah, this was what we thought. This right here, the difference in EK's birthdays. So I thought we were pretty plain spoken on that, but maybe I was not clear. But yeah, that was a big subject of speculation mid part of the show. It's possible you're just behind. You'll get there if you were. Remember the EK ultrasound with EF name on it that was going around? Makes sense with 8 month missing. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Sure does. I was born in Ohio and was adopted at birth. My birth certificate has my adopted parents on it. DOB 524, date received by registrar 6/5. You just helped answer a major question because you've got a 12-day date delay there. And I'm telling you, there aren't two. I'm taking a picture. You guys are going to have to wait while I take it because this does explain so much to me. Thank you, Ohio Noonie. Thank you. This explains a whole lot to me because I have been having trouble explaining why there's such a large gap between the birth and the registration. I even thought, is the random people I'm looking up, because I know people in Ohio, I just looked up the birth. Are the random people I'm looking up, if they just happen to all be registered very close together? Now, that's possible, granted. I don't know a lot of people. I didn't just type random names. But that's good because Erika's was like a 15-day difference. You're saying 12. More normal seems to be like 4 to 7 for people who weren't adopted. I mentioned in one comment that it's an old photo. You made me look like a joke. I didn't mean to make you. I would never do that to someone. Update, thank you for all the prayers. My nephew's open heart surgery last Wednesday was very successful, and he was discharged today. That's excellent news. Thanks for the update. He already feels so amazing, better than ever. We have a good father. Yes, indeed. Indeed. Thank you. Why would a Christian go to Israel to find a husband? I've been asking myself that question since I saw that. Tell me about your macadamia nuts salted. Where do you get them? So I buy them from Amazon. They ship them in. It's a 24-ounce bag. And it's called, let me pull it up real fast. I had a bag in here the other day. If you were on the members page, you saw it. It's called Dry Roasted Macadamia Nuts, Nothing Else. The brand is called It's Just. Dry Roasted Macadamia Nuts, Nothing Else. $36 a bag. They're not cheap. That's why when you run out, you get sad and you have to be nice to comment. But that's it. It's a great, a wonderful purchase. And it's a massive bag. It was just a huge bag. Not like, you buy them in the store, they're this big, but they're $12. No, this is a huge bag. 20 years ago, it cost $900 to participate in Miss USA. Contestants had to purchase local title. Why multiple Scottsdale? Oh, I did not know that. How many people think Charlie was gay? I've heard it. I don't necessarily think it, but I've entertained it, but I don't think so. Her address was at 30th and Madison. That's Midtown, very pricey. I'd like to know who's paying for it. Good question. Yeah, the child was not Erika's. The man standing with her was a sheriff's son, and the child was someone else's. God bless from Scott. Well, I know the child purportedly is someone else's. We're trying to figure out if that's a cover story. It's very possible it's someone else's kid, and it has nothing to do with it. But it doesn't mean I still don't wonder about her missing 8 months. Like, it's weird for a college kid to go missing for 8 months. I'm sorry. That's weird. You were in a community, you were at Regis University, you were on a basketball team, and then you go missing for 8 months? That's weird. That's weird. But Christ is king indeed. You're allowed to have a heavy day. We're all human. Well, thank you. Some people were disappointed by it. Hey, bud. Bud. Wasn't that on the Cosby Show? Hey, bud. Look at the dates signed with U.S. and Israel. FBI or ICE also found carved bullets on the same day or the day before Erika took over TPUSA. Charlie had a lot of stuff getting signed around his death. I don't know what any of that means. What dates signed with U.S. and Israel? I don't know what all that means. I appreciate the contribution. I wish I could respond to it. I genuinely want to, but I don't know how. You have more live viewers than BB did tonight. He topped at 8,000. I believe God is healing and good is coming. Well, the Beepster was live? Well, he should have known better than to go up against this program. The Beepster was live on YouTube? Crazy. I think that's the thing with manipulators, several variations of the same story or several versions to keep you confused. That's how I caught on to my husband, soon ex-husband. Sound like a mommy sleuth, Rosie. Think Bradley Cooper could have played you in a movie had he not got all that plastic surgery. I don't know why people do that. Like, just get old. Y'all are going to watch me age. It's not going to be pretty. Watch a Baron while politely eating my tiny side dinner salad. No ribs or sauce here, folks. Yeah, but it'd be better if you did, wouldn't it? You'd have a lot more fun if you were eating ribs than a salad. Rosa, eat the salad. Enjoy the salad. Following up on drug addiction theory, EK's Instagram post asked something akin to one decision you would make differently if you could. Her answer, never try cocaine. Hard to argue. LOL, go Max Barron. So I have a different take on that because I went back and found the original post. And that was a question she asked to her friends. And what she was showing on her screen was their answers. So I don't think that was her saying never try cocaine. I think she was showing one of her friends said never try cocaine. And that's for all you people that think I only say negative stuff about her. I'm telling you, I don't think that was her words. I think that was someone else's words. Hand hurts, man. Don't burn yourself. If you make tea, use care and caution. Baron and CO need to lobby the algorithm overlord to adjust for the unique views they have drawn in. They never miss an episode, and white-knuckled terrified, and they will never like. I see what you're saying. I think by the time someone's watched 10 straight episodes of yours, you should get credit for that. That's a good point. Do you think maybe when EK disappeared was when they wiped her memory and reprogrammed her? That was a definite turning point in her life. You think they hit her with the little boop boop, the boop boop machine from Men in Black? Hey, just stand right there, would you? Boop boop. I love you and more. I have 2 Ford Lightnings. That's the SVT. You're a Ford fan. That makes sense to me now. I never understood what Rosie SVT means. But if you're a Ford fan, the SVT makes a lot of sense. I like Ford trucks. I like Ford automobiles in general. Baron, if you're retained as Erika's defense attorney, how would you construct her defense in light of all the lies? I'm glad to see you in higher spirits today. Take care. I would tell her to take her $20 to $50 million she's probably worth and lay low. Hey, girl, lay as low as you can possibly lay and then get lower. I've been thinking about the earshot, too, lately. That's a risky warning message, but these days, who knows? Possibly CK had something like Asperger's, highly intelligent, too trusting of others, lacking some social skills. Thanks for your great shows. I've learned so much. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power indeed. This bothers me, the removing all the old videos and content, because I now have dead links where I had videos saved. They haven't removed them all, to be fair to them, but they've removed a lot because I have some dead links, and you don't get dead links unless you've removed or privatized something. They shouldn't be doing it. Baron, Nani juice for the burn. Total pain relief, asking prayers, blood's cancer, but God's got me. Take good care. Oh, man, are you telling me you have some kind of blood cancer? That's horrific. I've never heard of Nani juice, so I'm looking at it. The fruit of the Morinda citrifolia tree? No, that sounds scary. I hate that you have that. I used to do it wasn't medical malpractice trials. It was a type of criminal defense that used this highly, highly specialized medical knowledge. It was a very narrow form of criminal defense. I don't want to go into it right now, but if you Google me very long, you'll figure it out. And I used every tool at my disposal to try to represent my defendants zealously. Like throughout crazy stuff, throughout normal stuff, mainstream, attacked the testing, I had just tremendous resources at my disposal to attack these defenses. And I represent a lot of them. Like I think at one time I had 50 or so people charged with the same crime in various jurisdictions all over the country. And we'd have to use an expert witness when I went to trial, right? Because I can't bring this information in. I got to bring it in through someone qualified. And so you'd go out and hire expert witnesses. Well, one of them we hired had all these patents on chemotherapy drugs. And I told him, I said, you see these people getting cancer, but you seem like an expert. What would you do if you got cancer? And he said, I'd never eat another carbohydrate. I'd either die with no carbohydrates or it would eventually cure me. It shocked me. I'd never heard of that. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but that's always stuck with me. And he said that, and he would drink a lot of baking soda water. I don't know what that means either. I don't know if that helps. I don't know if it hurts. This is not medical advice. This is me just reminiscing on a conversation I had with a cancer doctor 10 to 15 years ago. I'm not sure when that trial was. I don't even know where in the country we were on that trial. But I remember him saying that. But I'll pray for you. I'm sorry. God does have you. And thanks for sharing it with us. Thank you, Black Gold. But Baron, the woman in brown dress and MAGA hat next to Cutler, was on her phone, not paying attention. She's oblivious. When the Big Bang happens, her primal response was to look at the source of the jarring sound. She looked directly at Slick Rick. Slick Rick, we're calling him now. I'll check that out. Thank you for that generous contribution. I will check that out. I don't have time to do it live on the air. We're almost 4 hours in, but I will look at that. That's compelling enough for me to go look at. Hey, Baron, did you see the person killed after breaking into Mar-a-Lago had their names searched on Google Trends in Washington in a Middle Eastern country over a month earlier? I did see people saying that. I've not had a chance to check that myself, but I did see that. But again, when I check it, I look for a whole bunch of different metrics, not just one single search. I go back years and try to rule out that it's something that recurs in that area. And then I look at like a dozen or more other countries to make sure he's not also being searched in other places. Recall CO said CK was good friends with Cabot when EK was dating him. CK had to know EK, then probably why he hesitated to date her first. I got a call from a friend of Charlie's, a longtime friend of Charlie's. I don't want to get any more specific than that because I don't want to give this person away. But this person agreed that he just can't imagine Charlie wouldn't have known who Erika was. And Erika wouldn't have known who Charlie was. I can't verify that. I have no idea. That's just one man's opinion. EK had a baby prior to CK. Check all public records, birth certificates, midwife. That's a fact. She had a baby. Daisy, get on that. Love, love, love your show from Las Vegas. Well, email me the documentation. I'd love to look at it. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Robert E. Lee or George Washington. That doesn't really fit my motif. Look back at the Erika interview on Fox. Behind her, a truck drives by slowly, and the slogan on the truck says, "Catch the silver bullet." Coincidence? Probably. Probably a coincidence. I mean, I'm assuming that was a Coors Light truck or something. Might be time to retire that Trump pick. Bruh. Not only is it literally not there, and there's a giant black piece of paper I stuck in the frame so that it would draw attention to the fact that it's not there. Not only that, but we've been talking about it for like 2 full days. Bruh. I'm not getting on to you. I said I was going to be nice to commenters. And I am. And I am. But, bro, I'm just messing with you. I appreciate the generosity. Rush on the wall. You inspire followers in many ways. Thank you. You read the Bible daily or have a plan? Jesus loves you. I don't read it daily. I'll be honest with that. I have read it. I'm very familiar with it. I do go to it. I do read the mass readings. A lot of times I'll read the daily readings. But no, I don't just systematically sit down on a daily basis and read the Bible. In that, I am very much like the vast majority of Christians who've ever lived, who either couldn't read or didn't have access to a Bible. But yeah. Here, same. I was adopted at birth and it was registered almost 2 weeks later to go through the court process. Bio parents' names are sealed 100 years. Wow. We're getting somewhere, people. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Just common sensing it, checking in. Thank you. Thank you. Just another crazy coincidence. Erika and Lindsay Halligan, Trump-appointed attorney, both competed in the 2010 Miss Colorado pageant, Trump pageant. EF third runner-up, Lindsay fourth runner-up, and 2009 LHSFEF3RU. I think they also went to college together. Can we cast Brylan Hollyhand as the little bird in Ad Fleet's Are You My Mother, Erika Kirk edition? That's funny. Brylan Hollyhand is the Mikey McCoy of the non-TPUSA world. And you make of that whatever you want. Rush on the wall. You inspire many. Rush on the wall. You inspire many followers in many ways. Oh, I already read that. Thank you. Thank you. Besides asking for Holy Spirit to stay sober, just get through today. Matthew 6:25, learn to abhor bad habits. Romans 12:9. If you have craving, think about the bad effects and move on. Isaiah 43:18-19. Keep your mind occupied. Ephesians 5:15 and 16. That's a lot of scripture. A lot of scripture. Nissy Social YouTube, she tried to hide this. Tried to hide what? I'll accept this compliment. You'll age like a good wine, better every year. Thank you, Josephine. I appreciate that, and I'll allow it. I'll allow it. I know everything points to EK being evil and a traitor, but one thing I'm having trouble accepting is CK not discerning that before marrying her and starting a family. Marriage is sacred. Yeah, that's a trouble a lot of people have. It's honestly a sticking point for not just you. I mean, it's a sticking point for many of us. Please offer your good friend Jesse on Fire some constructive criticism. Perhaps you could offer him a few pointers. He's all over the place. He does a good job. I mean, he's a very talented broadcaster. He's got a great following. His fans fiercely love him. We do different shows, obviously, very different shows. Yeah, so Hungarian wellness mud. Alkaline soda is alkaline and cancer grows in an acidic environment. Oh, that's the baking soda. Duly noted. Duly noted. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Grumblers. So I emailed you the other day. Wait, hear me out. When I couldn't see your Addy under the video, I Googled it and one of your no-no addresses came up. FYI, Daisy's also a whiz at SEO by chance. It's in the description. The email address is in the description. And I say it like every podcast. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Send it there. I'm sure you had a great email, but I didn't see it if you sent it somewhere else. Oh my gosh, having you comment on videos is the best. Awesome show. Thanks for all you do, keeping us informed and in the truth. Christ is King. I'll be honest, that's my most fun shows I do is when I comment on videos. I have to tell myself every time not to do that. Like you can't just do a whole show every time commenting on videos, but it's the most fun I have. I would like to apply for that charity that supports those who want to join a charity. Everyday Charities for You. Call it EC4U. Those of us that want to charitize charities to join charities. Okay. Duly noted. Duly noted. Thank you for the shout out. My mother-in-law is in the hospital, hopefully being discharged tomorrow after issues with heart surgery. Prayers would be great for Sue, mother-in-law. Watching your show has been a great evening break. You're welcome, Dom. You're welcome. Also, I have ideas. Set up auto reply to confirm receipt with thanks. Might not hear from me again. Warning. Every son make few 3-minute vids with new 4 memes for show breaks. Not bad. Not bad. I like both of those. You're something else, Baron. Thanks for all you do. I'll allow that. I will accept it and I will allow it. Thank you. You grumblers are a piece of work over there. Hey, B, was perusing found money here in Arizona. Saw a few unclaimed account for Lori, Grifter, Queen, Frantzve. Also found one account for me, $48. Thanks for all you do. Don't say I never gave you anything. You're $48, well, $38 richer for me than you were before tonight. 48 for you, and you shot 10 my way. So you're welcome, and thank you. Okay, this one's an actual question. I'm a cradle Catholic, also considering stopping by my local parish, but intimidated, especially the Roman calisthenics. I have severe but invisible disability and need service dog. No one's going to care. Don't be nervous about that. I mean, disabled people go to mass. When I broke my leg, I went to mass in a wheelchair. I certainly wasn't standing up and down. And then when I got out of the wheelchair, I went to mass on a walker. And then when I got off the walker, I went to mass on crutches. And I sat the whole time. Don't worry about it. Regarding USA Chant Guy, that info was shared with FBI and they don't share with Robinson Defense. Is that an issue? We don't know that they didn't share it with the defense. We don't know that. I just want to be clear about what we do and we don't know. Nature's Sunshine Rescue Gel with 24 part per million silver will heal burns ASAP. Sorry about that. Ouch. Yeah, well, you'll never see me playing with boiling hot tea again. And thank you for that. Thank you for that recommendation. Palm Pistol Dude was wearing IR glasses, only with those by DARPA. Can you see the infrared dot firm from pistol? No one else can see it. He braced his left arm and shot with right. You still have to aim it. Even if you have a laser, you still have to aim it. Maybe. Is it possible? Maybe. And I don't know that he was wearing DARPA glasses. It looked like he had a pair of Ray-Bans on. But maybe. Love the show. Speaking truth about politics, history, and lies behind the stories we're told. Would love to hear your thoughts on reconciling your faith with dark history of organized religions, complicity in war, crime, etc. I've talked a little bit about that, about reconciling my faith with the dark reality that comes with being Catholic and the Catholic Church and Christianity in general and organized religion in general and Western civilization in general. I've talked about it a little bit. I could expand. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. We're right at 4 hours. Thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, share, notifications. When I post the video in about 5 minutes, you can go comment on YouTube. That helps as well. But I appreciate you. You being here is enough for me. You being here is enough. So thank you. I genuinely appreciate it. And I take all your advice in stride, and even when I seem irritated by it, I'm listening to it. I promise you that. Probably not going to do a regular evening show tomorrow. Probably we'll do a member show either tomorrow or Friday. I will be back in all likelihood Wednesday. If I'm going to do a show tomorrow night, I'll put it up early in the day and let you guys know, give you plenty of advance warning. But in the meantime, don't forget, Jesus loves you. Have a good night, guys. And I look forward to seeing you here very, very, very soon. Have a good night.